here's the question: who would you rather have as president, Charlie Kirk or Hasan Piker?
Charlie Kirk, all day.
Exactly.
All day.
I just don't understand that. Yeah, but
well, maybe because Hasan Piker sims for all of the enemies of the United States of America. That's actually pretty understandable. If you're not dumb
terrorists, like actual terrorists.
Anyways,
not even like good enemies. Not even like China, Russia. I don't know if I say Russia's a good one, but at least it's better than fucking Islamic extremists. Just because I know this is going to be clipped a million times. Pisco's changed this question like 15 times. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but so the question initially to counterpoints was like, who should you try to appeal more, like to the people that are more moderate left or to the far left tankies that want to rape and murder every single capitalist and every single person that wouldn't support their uniparty ideology. And for some reason, Pisco thinks it's better to support the rapist murderers than people that are just moderate left Dems. So the question transforms, now the answer to that is obvious, so then the question transforms to, oh, well, who would you rather vote for? Hasan Piker or Donald Trump, which is like, that's not really related at all to the question that was posed before. But this tweet here was, LOL of people adding me with this clip in response to a thought experiment I ran with Counter Connor, which was essentially Trump or Hasan, who you pick who is a closer ally to the Dems. Notice how he changes. It's very strange too, because for a lawyer, you would think that like the words matter, but they don't. He bounces between so many different words. Who is a closer ally? Who would you support? Who would you vote for? Who should you appeal to? Like it's constantly like switching the words here, depending on what he wants the argument to be, right? And of course, predictably, some people pick Trump/Kirk/MAGA, revealing their unhinged derangement, that their main enemy is not Trump, it's Hasan Piker. So now it's like, well, who is a closer ally becomes, well, who is the main enemy? Okay. I say some because even as in the subreddit, the left community that most despises Hasan shares that preference with me. So now if you express, but now this is saying like, who would you rather have as president, right? So this is a different question, and it's Charlie Kirk versus Hasan Piker, but this is a different question than like, who do you pick as a closer ally to the, like it's, but so now if you express a preference for Hasan Piker over Donald Trump, now it's just a preference, I guess. Okay. Over Donald Trump, you endorse Hasan or want to be friends with Hasan or want to build bridges with Hasan. Absolute derangement, sorry to say. So I think I quote tweet this with like, Hasan just uses the Democrats to push for his ML beliefs, right? And he does. Hasan said this like a million times. It's not even like, this shouldn't be controversial at this point, right? So now the question is, Hasan or Trump, who are you voting for if you had to pick? So my interpretation is who can be president and do stuff, I guess is how I'm interpreting this initially. So my response is Trump at least has some vague notion of supporting America, however misguided it is. If he destroys the country, it would be a byproduct of his stupidity and narcissism. With Hasan, it would be by ideological design. He supports foreign terrorist groups, despises U.S. allies, supports historical revisionism to paint U.S. adversaries in a better light, has admitted that he would ban opposing political parties in the United States and would lock his enemies forever in re-education camps if they didn't agree with his political ideology. As a Marxist-Leninist, he would support the creation of a single vanguard party to violently enforce all of these changes. This is just what we know of Hasan's views publicly. We also know that he stated on shows that he hides his true beliefs so he can funnel people further down the radicalization pipeline. We've already survived 4 years of Trump. I'm not convinced we'd survive 4 years in a Hasan-styled regime. And then, because he likes to get like the clips or whatever, so then he says, so who would you vote for? So you would vote for Trump over Hasan, correct? And then my response is, I would vote for the guy who supported January 6th versus the guy who supported October 7th, yes. And then he says, we have an honest disagreement then. I would vote for Hasan over Trump. I see Trump and MAGA as a greater enemy than Hasan Piker. So then I say, well, that's because you don't think tankies are really that bad. And then he says, I hate tankies. I'm not socialist/communist, like you convince your audience. I never said he was socialist or communist. I just think he's way too tolerant of tankies. I just think fascist Trump is my bigger enemy. I'm not convinced Trump could turn this country into a Marxist hellhole if he wanted. So now we get like this very clever switch into, well, hold on. Are we talking about which regime we would support? Which is very obvious because at the end of my tweet, right, I literally say, we've already survived 4 years of Trump. I'm not convinced we'd survive 4 years in a Hasan-styled regime. But now we've switched to, I'm not convinced Hasan could turn this country into a Marxist hellhole if he wanted. I think Trump and MAGA are doing far more damage than good. Well, now it's become a pragmatic switch. Oh, So I say, you've morphed this into a fundamentally different type of question then. If you're simply asking who I would vote for if the election were tomorrow and the rest of the political system / country would remain the exact same, well, then I'd vote for Hasan because he's too stupid and his ideas are too radical to get anything done in this country. But that's like asking if I'd vote for Trump versus Hitler. I'd heavily consider voting for Hitler over Trump because, despite how bad Trump is, I think Hitler's name alone would probably scare off the majority of the Republican Party from working with him. That's kind of a meaningless statement and misses the central point of the question. I don't think the point of Pisco's question was who politically would be more effective in office. I think it was like who, like ideologically, if they could enforce their whole view, would you support? If we're just saying like what could somebody get done, well, fine, I would just vote for the most unhinged person ever because then nobody would, I would vote for Satan, I guess, because I don't know if people are, it's hard to say with MAGA these days, right? And then he says, I don't think I've morphed anything. I'm saying gun to your head right now, Trump or Hasan. Like, notice again, like Trump or Hasan, what? Would you vote for them? Do you support them? Or would you have them in a country where they can like be a dictator and rule everything? Like we retreat back to the vagueness here when I clarify, oh, well, hold on. If you're just saying who can pragmatically get done with more, well, then I would change my vote. But now we go back to the vagueness, right? Back to the vagueness. And I guess I'm not sure what your answer is or when you'd support Trump in this context. It's very obvious when I would support Trump. I think I've laid it out in all of my answers, but he's not really responding to almost anything I'm saying. It's why they're like one sentence responses and basically avoiding engaging with almost anything I've said so far. I'm obviously taking for granted the political system of the USA. I also think Hasan is more aligned with you and Dems than fucking Trump. I don't know how you would ever measure this in any way, size, shape, or form, right? Like, let's say that I believe that murder is bad. Am I more aligned with somebody who thinks that shooting people in the head randomly is awesome? Or am I more aligned with somebody who likes to guillotine people randomly? I don't know what the answer to that is. I'm not sure. Hasan and Trump are both anti-liberal people. Hasan more so ideologically than Trump because Trump is just fucking retarded and doesn't even know what liberalism is. But Hasan is ideologically opposed to my political system, right? I don't know if Pisco remembers, but like the whole Cold War was like liberalism and capitalism versus whatever the fuck Marxist-Leninist the Soviet Union is. Now, all the MLs will say it wasn't real. I don't even know what they fucking say about it at this point. I'm not sure. Basically, I think the answer is overdetermined when we're talking about Trump. So now I try to get clarity here. Support or vote for? You keep changing the question. There are tons of implications in each of these terms. I would vote for Hasan because I know he has zero chance of winning. But again, that kind of misses the point of the question. In what world is Hasan more aligned with me than Trump? Hasan is fundamentally anti-capitalist. He's anti-liberal. He's anti-USA. He's anti-intervention in probably all scenarios. He thinks the US is probably one of the most evil countries on the planet, and he's pro-monoparty through violent enforcement. 4 question marks. Okay. For crystal clarity, vote in an outcome determinative fashion, i.e., who are you actually picking? In your perfect world, who is winning? That's what the question is trying to suss out. And again, he's missing the point. Winning, do you mean winning the election and then having an authoritarian dictatorship? Or do you mean winning the election with everything left as is and then they can't do anything? Again, I don't understand how he keeps missing like the point of everything that like something is not clicking or connecting in here. And I don't know if it's because he's so emotionally dug into his position and he realized like it's kind of like bankrupt and now he is like trying to like run around. I don't understand how you can miss it so hard. That is the question. That is what the question is trying to suss out. This is not something being sussed out. This is just a point blank, one-dimensional question. There is nothing sussed out in who would you vote for if they could win the election. The question is like, do you think that like if they could enact their perfect policy agenda, whose agenda would you more agree with? That's what you're trying to suss out, right? There's like the underlying concept. Political alignment, can answer that by getting ready for a debate. I think he's going on Tim Pool or whatever. But so, yeah, but he never responds with, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that were these tweets. I'm like 95% sure that Pisco will be on shows later saying like Destiny said he would rather vote for Hitler than Hasan, or Destiny wants Trump instead of Hasan because he doesn't like socialists or something. And then it'll be, you guys are just unhinged and you're mad because I'm not unhinged about Hasan or something, basically. Yeah. I think the issue is no one's clocking on the business. Like when people say, because the answer is you prefer fascism to socialism, when they say this and they smile, right? What they mean is fascism is the Nazi party and socialism is Sweden. That's what they mean when they say, I hope you guys know this. If you disagree with me, also I perm ban you. I don't allow any of this shit in my community anymore, okay? This is not a socialist or communist utopia. I need you to understand this, that if you are truly like a socialist, like worker sees the means of productions, I view you the exact way I view a Nazi. Okay, 100%. You were the exact same to me. All right. If I had two of you and one gun and one bullet, all right, I would smash your heads together and aim right down the middle. All right, maybe a little bit more to the side, depending on which one of you I hated more personally. It's clear you are both not thinking about the same question, but I don't know if he's just not understanding. I mean, my points are pretty obvious, but I think like if I'm like, I feel like I'm expanding a lot here, but then it's just a one sentence response. So like, I think if I'm expanding on my point quite a bit, and then it's always like a one sentence response or something that just seems to be missing the point of what I'm saying. I don't think actually, who said that? Hold on. You're banned for a day. No, stop doing this. Stop giving cover like when people are just being intentionally. You're doing it. You're doing it right now. Please stop. It's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious what's being said here. Okay. And then the onus is on the other person to clarify if they're having trouble understanding. If somebody says, is your favorite color red or blue? And you're like, do you mean like political parties or like which one makes me feel better? Or what? And the guy's like red or blue. And you're like, I don't know, I guess blue. And the guy's like, so you hate red? And you're like, well, when you say hate red, hold on, do you mean like, would I ever like choose to wear this color, would I ever do this? And it's like, would you ban red or blue? It's like, I don't know. And you're like, well, I think that there's just a miscommunication between the two parties. Actually just and yourself.
For instance,
who's he talking?
The Houthis. Motherfucker Hasan had a Houthi on a stream, interviewed a Houthi. He
allegedly.
Okay, I'll give you the allegedly.
Yeah, but I think he supports the Houthis, and I think
protect yourself. Yeah, he supports the Houthis.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I was in the nation.
Just to be clear, the only reason Hasan brought that guy onto his stream was because he marketed himself as a Houthi, not as a random Yemenis kid. It really doesn't matter if the guy's a Houthi or not. What matters is why did Hasan bring him onto his stream, right? If I brought somebody on my stream to promote their fundraiser, and the guy's like, I am a Nazi, and I want to kill all non-white people in America, and then I bring him on, I'm like, hey, what's up, bro? And he's like, hey, what's up? I'm Nazi. I want to kill white people in America. Oh, cool. Well, let me link your GoFundMe and all that. And then he leaves. If we find out afterwards that the guy's not even a Nazi, that has literally zero bearing on my decision to bring him on and to glaze him the entire time. So I don't know what the allegedly, I don't even know what the point of that is here.
Navy. I was on a ship that was getting shot at by Houthis. So so when I see Hasan, like I'm instantly, no matter and Kirk is a fascist, Kirk is evil, he's an evil human being. But I'm just gonna, it's inherent. I'm just gonna hate.
Trump didn't deal with the Houthis, and Kirk supported it.
Okay, let me ask you this. Just give me the best faith you've ever given anyone.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Do I see if what you're saying is you have
I have there's a personal connection, and the only reason I'm bringing it up for me is because I am almost positive Connor feels a similar way when it comes to like terrorism. I mean, he's a Marine deployed in the Middle East.
I'm telling you.
So when we I'm gonna lump Connor in. I think you would agree. When we see like the Hasan, like some of Hasan's like pro-terrorist.
They're arguing over if Charlie Kirk or Hasan would be better as president. Bro, just kill me, Jesus.
It's like okay, I just hate you more than pretty much anyone. Yeah, like you're a demon. And so that like I could sniff it in the conversation you two were having. Like that's where he's coming from. Where he's just like like a person like Hasan because of comments like that. Like I just hate you more than anyone. I'm sorry.
Do you think similarly about support for Bibi Netanyahu?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you think similarly about support for Bibi Netanyahu?
And like similarly in what regard?
In the sense
like
if you support hatred, like if you support Netanyahu, similar to if you support the Houthis. What's worse, supporting the Houthis or supporting Netanyahu?
The Houthis. That's so easy. As much as you like or don't like Israel, like the Israel political establishment is constrained by the political realities around them. The biggest issue, like people will point to Netanyahu who's doing unhinged. Netanyahu will go as far as he can, but not any further. So like if you have a US president that's restricting his action to some extent, then the Israeli political system will follow, and they have their own internal constraints. The Houthis operate fundamentally on in a totally different way. I mean, I guess we can run the argument back of like, well, I wouldn't even say they can kill less people because isn't the population of Yemen, isn't it like 38 million people? How many people live in Yemen? 39.4 million people. So that's not even necessarily true.
Like to the same level of support? Like, go Hamas or go Netanyahu?
Sorry, go Houthis or go Netanyahu?
Go Houthis.
What's worse?
Worse. Morally worse? Oof.
I can't even believe that this is like delusional. If you've gotten to this point, you're so lost.
For me personally, it's going to be the Houthis, but it's just that personal connection, I think. Morally, I mean, it's probably
so. I think at least in this respect, even taking your view, it's kind of a wash. You just said morally it might be worse to do for Netanyahu.
It might be. And I'm not coming here to tell you that Connor is correct. I'm telling you to say I don't feel like you were giving him the consideration.
Oh, okay, but I want to know what you think, right? So you said you would vote for Kirk before you vote for Hasan.
But I'm also admitting straight up to you that might be colored by personal, like it might be colored by personal things, right? It might be. It would take more analysis. I'd have to think on it way harder. Right now, I will tell you I would go Kirk, but that might be colored by personal reasons. It totally might be.
All right. Well, can we discuss it a little bit? So
sure. Yeah.
So in terms of support for terrorists or support for bad people abroad, I think Kirk supports Netanyahu, and that's bad. Hasan supports the Houthis, and that's bad.
So do we call it a wash, or do we say Netanyahu's worse?
At least taking your view, I don't think I can be agnostic about them and say, at least they're in terms of magnitude, they're both bad to do. Why would you, unless you were willing to make a strong argument that support for Houthis is materially worse than support for Netanyahu? I think that at least in your mind, it should be a wash. And so, can you name me on some aspects other than like support for demons abroad, like what thing that you think Kirk is better than Hasan on?
I think like it was what I opened with, right? Like I think that there's like some pillars of our republic that would be left over after Kirk got done with it that I don't think would be left.
Do you think Kirk would support like if you were president? Sorry, if Trump tried to take over the country and he was successful in installing a dictatorship, do you think Kirk would support it?
If Trump were to take over the country and try to install a dictatorship, would Kirk support? I would say he probably would. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I would say like there's a high likelihood, very high, 70-80%. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I think I see the likelihood of the support for a fascist takeover for Kirk is quite high.
Do you but I feel like the issue I'm having here, I feel like I could just flip the question and the answer, at least.
Yeah, I mean, Hasan would support an authoritarian takeover from a leftist regime as well, easily, 100%.
My eyes is at least at bare minimum the same, right? Like, do you think Hasan would support, or would Hasan support like the installment of like a communist dictator?
Yes,
probably. I think,
of course,
like 70-80%. Yeah,
of course.
But maybe that's a watch too. I mean, like I think that, but
maybe it all washes out.
The difference is I think Hasan has better people around him. He has bad people around him too, but he has some group of people where he feels a connection to them that are tethered to this earth. Whereas Kirk is around the worst demons in the entire American political system.
So are we doing like a Trump term 1 versus Trump term 2 analysis here of like in Trump 1 at least there was like sane people in the room every once in a while?
Yeah, I think like so for Kirk,
who are the sane people in the room for Hasan?
He's going to have around him parts of the Trump coalition, and I just don't see like okay, so maybe Hasan, if given complete ultimate power, would institute a communist dictatorship. I'm not sure. I think he's definitely more apt to do it than any like normal Democrat for sure. But I don't know. I just don't like to say that for certain that like Kirk is more preferable in terms of the fascist autocracy.
I'm telling you, like I'm telling you very clearly, this might be colored by personal experience. It wholeheartedly might be like I don't want sorry to take it back to this again.
Yeah.
But there's no universe in which I would argue that it's obviously horrible that
bad empanada.
Talking about
what is this?
Because I think we agree.
I
think we agree. Hang on, let me just pop out.
Sorry, my chat's pissing me the fuck off. So.
Why? What are they doing? They're like, we are okay with corruption when it's our.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we love nepotism. Cronyism is my favorite.
Okay.
Having the right last name and becoming a consultant for no-show jobs is based, actually. Have you ever seen The Sopranos?
Just to be clear, that's not what nepotism is. Nepotism is not when you're known as being part of some other family or whatever, and then you get hired as a place because of your connections or whatever else. Nepotism is like when your family members get you a job because they either like work with the company or they put in a good word for you or they get you hired like that. The idea that nepotism is, oh, wow, wait, you're part of this family that are known for this thing or whatever. Oh, like you've got some skill set or whatever else. Because remember, Hunter Biden had a background in all this as well. Like the guy was the head of the whatever part of the USAID and he'd like been on boards before. It's not like Hunter Biden just walked in randomly and got this job. Having a renowned name and then having like work that's attached to that name doesn't necessarily count as nepotism unless you can show or demonstrate it somehow. Yeah, like he's got like a JD at Yale and everything. Like the fuck are we talking about here?
The thing is, they just love Biden. We have to understand they love Biden. Oh, wait a second. This isn't working. You know what? We're good.
Sorry, you're kind of gonna do one. Sorry, you're kind of low for me. I need to turn you up.
Okay, yeah, turn me up, bro.
Chat. I'm gonna scroll to the bottom. Real quick. Let me read this. Bibliolife says pounder points for $5. Not only are they trading on their last name, they're also selling out the reputation of the United States. Okay. All right. That's the last super chat. I'm scrolling. If Pisco, sorry, one more super chat. Fight Pisco regarding the Hutch stuff. Perfectly. All right. And then if Pisco is too loud, please tell me, but I need him to be louder in order to hear him. All right. Go, Pisco.
Testing 1, 2, 3. How do I sound? Am I okay?
You sound great to me.
All right. So first of all, thank you so much for taking this call. I really appreciate it. Of
course.
And
it's always good content. Even when we yell at each other, it's good content.
I think so as well. I think that you're really good content. I think that you're someone with honor. All right. I think you have a lot of honor, and I appreciate that. I like how you talked about Liberty Mutual and your unit and all that stuff, and you stand up for justice. All that.
Was that all they talk about for Hunter? Or
so the first thing I want to talk to you about is the Hunter Biden. So we can break some bread, and we can get into the Hutch stuff that I want to ask you a question about. All right. So first of all, I don't like what Hunter is doing right now. Do you agree?
I haven't gotten into it enough. Weirdly enough, he's sufficiently charismatic that if Hunter Biden was like, "Hey, Connor, let's go get a beer," I'd probably go get a beer. Now, as far as the self-sweeping,
Connor, he's in recovery.
Oh, pussy. What a loser. So, anyway, but as far as like I caught some, I'm very early in the stream, but I caught some self-sweeping. I feel like there was some self-sweeping in there.
I think that it's a little bit unhinged to think that Joe Biden should have been the nominee in 2024. And I think that part of what Hunter Biden is doing right now is a kind of counterattack at what he feels are a bunch of Democrats who betrayed him, when, in my opinion, it's kind of Joe Biden who betrayed the Democrats initially by not even making a decision, really just like floating into this re-election campaign without stopping to even ask the question, is this a good idea? And so I just don't like that. I think that they're implying this entire time Joe Biden could have beat Trump. And I think that if Joe Biden was on that ticket, it was going to be an incredibly horrible landslide victory for Trump that would have put us back even further with him. And I think that part of what Hunter Biden is doing right now
early in the stream, but I caught
Biden should have been the nominee in 2024. And I think that part of what Hunter Biden is doing right now is a kind of counterattack at what he feels are a bunch of Democrats who betrayed him, when, in my opinion, it's kind of Joe Biden who betrayed the Democrats initially by not even making a decision, really just like floating into this re-election campaign without stopping to even ask the question, is this a good idea? And so I just don't like that. I think that they're implying this entire time Joe Biden could have beat Trump. And I think that if Joe Biden was on that ticket, it was going to be an incredibly horrible landslide victory for Trump that would have put us back even further than we are right now.
I think that I heard you guys talk about this because I think I pre-watched some of the content, and you guys effectively said that there was polling post-debate, pre-election that effectively showed that this was going to be a down ballot disaster, where effectively like Kamala, like people feel bad because the late minute switch out might have cost Kamala the election, but realistically the damage was minimized. So I think that's a compelling narrative.
Yeah, and the second part is I've been arguing against some leftoids, not really leftoids, more blue MAGA, the blue MAGA types, who say that I'm insufficiently loyal to Biden because I condemn as corrupt the pardoning of Hunter Biden, which I have and I did ever since those pardons were issued. And even though I have argued strongly against you, the notion that Joe Biden was in on this stuff, was in some sort of very intricate way, that doesn't mean that you're allowed to respond with political pardons, what I take to be corrupt pardons, on the basis of personal familial allegiance. And so I really appreciate what you were just saying there about Liberty Mutual. I think it's the wrong incentive.
But he was only being investigated because of personal familial allegiance, right? Did Joe Biden pardon his whole family, or was it just Hunter and the J6 Select Committee? Those people weren't all his family members, right? On the January 6th Select Committee, were those people all Joe Biden's family members? I don't remember. I don't think they were, right?
The wrong thing to do. And yeah, like, it's not just also the gun thing. People conflate it with just the gun thing. Like, oh, but the gun thing was just like, it was never done before. Even putting aside that's true, and it might be true. I don't think that novelty by itself is enough to pardon someone. Like, every crime needs to be applied for the first time in one way. So like, I mean, Trump, arguably with the New York case, even though I felt he was very guilty and the evidence showed that, there was like a novel application of one of the predicate offenses to condemn him on that basis. And then also, beyond just the gun charge, there's the tax fraud. And everyone seems to put aside the fact that it's not just he didn't report his taxes, he lied about his income when he knew he was making millions from Burisma, and he lied about it. So even though you and I...
Wait, did he lie about his income? I didn't see that. But the thing isn't necessarily about him lying about his income. It's that he had already paid all of it back. It had already been paid off with interest and penalties. I don't remember if he lied about it or if he just didn't file or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I have thought about like what's Joe Biden's involvement there. I have never ever said that like Hunter Biden is innocent or that Hunter Biden should be pardoned just because he's the son of the president.
Yeah, and I think I got pissed at you in the past because I think that some people, my chat mainly, because they're brilliant and have 3,000 IQ, although they piss me the fuck off all the time. I think some people pay attention to the words that are being said and they create conceptions within their mind of what's actually being said and they understand it and they fight it out logically. I think a lot of people only respond emotionally where they can kind of feel like, oh, this person's more on my side, therefore, I'm going to cheer them on. And so substantively, I feel like with you and me, part of the emotion of the fight that we had previously about Hunter is I felt like that you were minimizing. Still feel that way a little bit. But I could understand the logical conceptions that you were making. And there are people in my chat who effectively followed your emotional argument, but did not follow your logical argument. And so they're arguing with me right now. They're like, no, Hunter Biden did nothing wrong. He's kissed babies for 20 years. He's God's gift to America and corporations. He's amazing. And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? And no offense, I think it's partially your and Stephen's fault.
And Stephen's fault?
Well, not because of the logic. The logical articulations you guys have made are logical. The emotional argumentation is that Hunter Biden is a saint and nobody should give a fuck about it.
That's what I take to kind of be like Stephen's point of view, which is like,
I don't know if that's literally his point of view, though. I feel like that's emotionally his point of view.
He's like, anyone sewing out about the pardons is a piece of shit, or like sewing out about them.
Yep.
By the way,
that doesn't mean that you're a saint, though. I don't think that Hunter Biden was a saint. He had a whole addiction issue and everything else. But he was the victim of a political witch hunt. Like, that's undoubtedly true. So I'm like, I don't know what else. I mean, like, this is so obviously true.
What about him that much? They're constantly brought up to me to be like, listen, you're beyond the pale. You're just trying to hurt Democrats. Don't you know, by attacking Biden, by attacking... Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that Hutch's perspective, which I heard, and your perspective are actually not contradictory, okay? Mm-hmm. You can believe that it's a bad look for Democrats and it's also corruption or soft corruption or whatever, but pardon your son for any and all crimes for the past decade, and effectively you said you weren't going to do it, so that feels like a betrayal to your voting base. That's a true statement. Now, what Hutch said, which I agree with, which is that people are human. They have some level of familial loyalty. And so as a result, you can expect a father who lost his daughter, lost his wife, lost his eldest son, and is on the verge of losing his youngest son.
You should never grant this because you minimize the unhinged obsession that Republicans had with investigating Hunter Biden for years and years and years. Don't grant this bullshit that he only pardoned him because Joe Biden lost family members or whatever. Like, that's not the case. The case is the fact that Republicans were obsessively like witch hunting through this entire dude's history to try to find something to convict him on. Originally, it was over the Burisma stuff that these guys apparently agreed that Hunter Biden was a horrible person for being a part of, which Republicans found no evidence of anything for. So then they decided to do this weird gun charge that I don't know if anybody's even been convicted of this crime before, okay? I'm not actually sure. I don't know if I've ever seen it before. And then the tax thing that he'd already made up with the IRS and paid everything back for it.
Into incarceration, you can expect him to pardon his son, and that's understandable from a familial loyalty perspective. I don't think that is contradictory. I think both of those statements can stand.
Yeah, I guess I would expect it in the sense of like, could I predict it? Maybe you can predict it. Maybe it's like reasonable to anticipate that father might do that. That's a separate question from whether it's the right thing to do.
Well, I liked what you said, even if I didn't agree with it, where you were like, yes, but as a public servant, you must put the public interest ahead of yourself. And I was like, fucking Patriot Pisco, Patriot Pisco, the public servant.
Yeah, bro. Love is the death of duty, man. I mean, they're right about that. Like, you swear.
That sounds like a Warhammer saying.
That's a Game of Thrones. That's why they take the oaths in the wall, right? To not have any children is because love is the death of duty. And ultimately, like, a lot of tragedies bear that out. That when even Anakin Skywalker, why did he turn away? He was afraid to lose the thing he loved. But when you swear an oath, when you have a higher calling, a higher allegiance, yeah, it might be understandable that you come up short. But I think you need to strive towards it, and especially when he gave his word as a Biden, right? And that's their common phrasing. I give you my word as a Biden for what that's worth.
Yeah, now that word's worth dog shit. Yeah. And I would like to jump into the fiction real quick. So with the Star Wars references, what's interesting about watching that, I'm actually doing a breakdown channel about Star Wars now. What's interesting about that is watching how the Jedi failed in their own institutional principles leading up to Anakin existing as like the messianic figure who they knew was fucked up, but they were kind of like praying that he was not fucked up enough to destroy the whole galaxy, but they always knew that there was this potential. And so that's the thing. It's like, there's people in my chat who are like, oh, well, human's gonna human. They basically take like a Brittany Simon approach to things. But it's like, no, dude, you have to reinforce ideals. Like, that's the point of ideals. Human beings fail in ideals all the time, but if you don't reinforce them, then we don't have any.
Yeah, and that's why I think one of the things that Biden did that was most honorable is he started his administration appointing Merrick Garland to the Department of Justice to bring back independence to the Department of Justice. And yet, as it went on, as we're getting reporting, Joe Biden grew increasingly frustrated that Merrick Garland wasn't like choosing to call off the indictment of his son because it's his son. And I think that's very...
Grew increasingly frustrated is a bad thing? Maybe he was frustrated because the entire investigation was a sham. Maybe he was frustrated because this was a special counsel that had been chosen to investigate his son for bad dealings in Ukraine with Burisma, and it ended up being a witch hunt over taxes he'd already paid off, and him lying on a gun for him because he was addicted to crack. What is this evidence? What?
Well, hold on. What is that reporting though? Because I insinuated this without evidence, and then people were like, "You're crazy." And then
I never said no. There was.
So now the standard for Democrats is they can't be frustrated. You're not allowed to be frustrated. I'm not also convinced of this whole lying on his taxes thing or whatever. It sounds like for 1 year he just tried to take some bullshit deductions, which is like bad, I guess. But that's materially, that's like a minor part. The issue is Hunter didn't pay taxes for like 4 years. 2016, 2017, and 2019. Or, I'm sorry, 2016 through 2019, he didn't pay his taxes. And then at the very end here, the conservatives put, when he did finally file his 2018 returns, he included false business deductions in order to reduce the very substantial tax liability he faced as of February 2020. My guess is he lied on some deductions there, which you shouldn't do. Everybody apparently that does business does this. But like, this is not the rest of what he was being charged with. And the fact that they didn't even include any specifics here makes me think it was probably just some stupid bullshit. Like he was claiming a deduction that he shouldn't have on some property or whatever bullshit here. But the vast majority of this is just he didn't pay his taxes, which he said he didn't. But in 2019, he squared up with the IRS and he did pay all of his taxes. So why the fuck are we charging him afterwards, years afterwards? Holy shit.
Real-time reporting, I forget from whom, but it was either like Washington Post or Wall Street Journal, someone, that Biden was reportedly frustrated with Merrick Garland. That happened during Biden's term. And then
he's not allowed to be frustrated? But Joe Biden is not allowed to be frustrated? Meanwhile, for the investigation into the Russia collusion, Donald Trump fired Comey. He publicly excoriated Sessions for recusing himself from interfering in anything. He pardoned every single person, people that were charged with obstruction into Mueller's investigation.
Crazy. And then
I never said no. There was in real-time reporting, I forget from whom, but it was either like Washington Post or Wall Street Journal, someone, that Biden was reportedly frustrated with Merrick Garland. That happened during Biden's term. And then Jake Tapper has uncovered more evidence in more interviews that Joe Biden was really angry that...
Bro, this can't be real. It's got to be a troll or something at this point. And now as more information come out, we've actually found out that Biden was furious.
that Merrick Garland wasn't dropping the suit on his
Well,
son.
and I feel like I'm describing color to a blind man, because like I worked in law enforcement before. I worked in, corporate America before, obviously on small potatoes. I'm not trying to exaggerate but I've had conversations with people where I basically told them, like, no, you need to be explicit with what you're asking me to do. And then they insisted on being like, well, I can't legally tell you blah, 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 blah.
He's like, anyone soying out about the pardons is a piece of shit, or like shouldn't be soying out about them. By the way, I don't soy out about him that much.
To pardon your son for any and all crimes for the past decade. And what Hutch said, you've been expecting don't think that is contradictory. I think both of those statements can stand.
But yeah, I guess I would expect it in the sense of like, could I predict it? Maybe you can predict it. Maybe it's like reasonable to anticipate that a father might do that. That's a separate question from whether it's the right thing to do.
Well, I liked what you said. I was like, fucking Patriot Pisco, Patriot Pisco, the public servant.
Yeah, bro. Love is the death of duty, man. I mean, they're right about that. Like, you swear.
That sounds like a Warhammer saying.
That's a Game of Thrones. That's a
love is the death of duty. So like this whole section is premised on how Biden failed his duty, and the evidence we're given is that more and more evidence is coming out that he was mad that at Merrick Garland at Merrick Garland. That's what we're talking about here.
And then
I never said no. There was in real time reporting. I forget from whom, but it was either like Washington Post or Wall Street Journal, someone that Biden was reportedly frustrated with Merrick Garland. That happened during Biden's term, and then Jake Tapper has uncovered more evidence in more interviews that Joe Biden was really angry that Merrick Garland wasn't dropping the suit on his son.
And I feel like I'm describing color to a blind man, because like I worked in law enforcement before. I worked in corporate America before, obviously on small potatoes. I'm not trying to exaggerate but I've had conversations with people.
Oh my God. The 2018. Oh, hold on. That was a person in chat. Hold on. You said somebody in chat. Wait, where is this in here? The most serious allegations in this case stem from the 3 felony charges: tax evasion for 2018, filing a false personal tax return for 2018, and filing a false corporate tax return for 2018. Prosecutors say Hunter Biden claimed tax deductions for personal expenses that were disguised as business expenses, significantly lowering his tax bill. According to the indictment, some of those supposed business expenses included a $44,000 stay at the famous Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood, $30,000 for his daughter's tuition at Columbia Law School, and $11,500 for 2 nights with an escort, and then $4,000 at a strip club, $1,700 for a Lamborghini rental, and $275 for dinner at Nobu. So he was claiming bullshit deductions. What is this? $150,000 total in deductions, which would probably amount to maybe $40,000 of tax liability here that he would have owed. Like, it's not good, but like this is not that we would go back and retroactively felony. Meanwhile, you look for felony charges. Meanwhile, Roger Stone was trying to hide literally all of his money with his wife by claiming he was broke. Roger Stone didn't get charged with anything in this, right? This says there's an indictment. I thought he just paid this off, or maybe they ended up charging him, and this happens since I looked last. Hold on. Oh my God. I didn't even know the Justice Department could do that. The Justice Department filed a civil suit against Roger Stone, meaning they were just suing him to get the taxes paid. A civil suit, asserting that they'd used a commercial entity to shield their income and fund their personal expenses. In 2022, they settled for him just agreeing to pay the taxes back. Unbelievable. That's okay, though.
Where I basically told them, like, no, you need to be explicit with what you're asking me to do. And then they insisted on being like, well, I can't legally tell you blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, so they said the legal thing, but they were implying the corrupt thing. And so, that's where for me, like, if you've never been in those rooms, then you might have never felt that. But even with like managers or deputy chiefs or chiefs of police or managers at corporations or corporate managers, they will say the legal thing. That way, if it's being audio recorded or typed out or messages, they can fall back on that from a legalistic perspective, but they will 100% imply.
Destiny, in the tweet, you said Roger Stone was directly in contact with the hacker. Is that true? I'm pretty sure Roger Stone was literally tweeting at him. Was he not? Or did he just admit that he was interacting with him in DMs or something?
Former Trump campaign advisor Roger Stone. He's admitting tonight that he is the unnamed person who had communication with an alleged Russian hacker. Janine Stanwood is live in Fort Lauderdale, where she got Stone's side of the story. Janine.
And Lori, Roger Stone has admitted even before tonight that he was in contact with somebody called Guccifer 2.0, but he says he does not think that person is a Russian nor a hacker.
That was a Russian hacker from the is it one of the bear things? This is the Guccifer guy is the guy that leaked all the Podesta emails and hacked the DNC, and Roger Stone was coordinating media timing on it to optimize the damage to the Clintons, and he was working with Donald Trump's campaign. Like, it is direct collusion with Russian intelligence, but the Mueller investigation just couldn't get all the way up to Trump himself. So that's why Republicans scream like no collusion. This is a conspiracy, by the way. Guess what Roger Stone was ultimately convicted of? He was convicted of obstruction in the investigation and telling another witness to obstruct the investigation into Donald Trump. And then he got pardoned by Donald Trump over the Russia investigation. It's okay.
Even though the DOJ says otherwise. Political operative and
Destiny, I got
Roger Stone
hella pushback on that. Yeah, you got pushback because conservatives have rewritten history on everything. This is not contested. But conservatives would kill themselves. Connor's head would explode. If Hillary Clinton had a campaign manager or somebody working our campaign that was like, oh yeah, so I was talking with the guy that hacked the Donald Trump email inbox and was coordinating leaks for the last 2 years in order to besmirch him in front of our media. Like, they would lose their minds.
Unnamed Trump campaign regular who corresponded with an alleged Russian hacker mentioned in Friday's bombshell indictment.
I certainly meet the description of being in touch with the Trump campaign officials, and I did have one 24-word, rather innocuous exchange with the persona Guccifer 2.0.
Stone does not deny messaging someone called Guccifer 2.0. They exchanged direct messages on Twitter in 2016.
Anyone who looks at it objectively will see, based on content, context, and timing, is innocuous. My exchange with Guccifer 2.0 happens 4 weeks after WikiLeaks has already published the DNC material.
Some of it.
Did not think at that point that he was a Russian or a hacker.
What did Stone accomplish by colluding with a hacker? They were trying to media time leaks because there was a drip feed of all this shit for like a year when these emails were published.
But Justice Department officials say Guccifer 2.0 is part of a Russian intelligence military unit that conspired to sway voters in the 2016 presidential election. Stone contends he still doesn't know who Guccifer is and did nothing wrong.
I certainly don't expect to be charged with any offense pertaining to the hacking of the DNC or the transferring of material, allegedly hacked emails, to WikiLeaks, because I have no involvement in any of that.
Has the Department of Justice contacted you?
They have not.
And Stone also says that he thinks that President Trump should meet with Vladimir Putin. He says that he thinks that Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election is not the most pressing issue. We're in Fort Lauderdale tonight. I'm Janine Stanwood, Local 10 News.
Even if it's not illegal, they'll imply the corrupt thing. And so you kind of have to be in those rooms.
Well, thankfully, I don't think that Joe Biden ever expressed those concerns to the Attorney General. And so I'm glad about that. I think that what Biden did he by and large, I think, governed with honor at certain times. Not that said, I think his own human failings started to show that he wasn't up to the task of being the president, especially in the last 2 years where he wasn't having regular meetings with his cabinet, things like that. But in general, one of the things I really respect about Biden is, in many respects, he was like everything Trump wasn't. He was bridge building, or attempted to be bridge building, in a way that Trump was trying to dismantle the bridges. He passed lots of legislation with bipartisan support, meaningful legislation, not just tax cuts for the rich, and was actually trying to do something for the public benefit all the time with his NLRB, with his different agencies, different regulations. So I respect all that. I think his worst moments are when he was tempted by the Trumpian style. Except there was like some Trumpian, like the goblin. Who's the goblin for Spider-Man? Green Goblin.
Yeah,
like,
the mask.
It's like there are moments in Trump's presidency where that blonde hair just like goes and you can see it in the mirror and he has to just swat it away. But there are very Trumpian moments that are being revealed now with respect to his frustration with the DOJ that they're not protecting.
It's that Reddit post. It's right. I just realized this. I think I must be crazy. I think I'm just insane. Or maybe I'm too much in this shit. Pisco doesn't think Trump was that bad. That's what Pisco's saying. He just doesn't think Trump was that bad. Like, when Biden pardoned his son, who was the victim of like how many different, a special counsel, all of these special House Committee, Senate, all these investigations. When Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden, that was a Trumpian moment. Meanwhile, Donald Trump right now is in the process of potentially issuing a fucking pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell because of a 5-year, 10-year conspiracy that they fabricated that they're now not able to come up with evidence for. This is one of like 50 unbelievable things. But I think that he just doesn't think it was that bad. That's the answer. This is it. They don't think it's that bad. This is the answer. Lately, I thought this isn't even a good post. I think this might have been. It started with a thought has been taking shape in my mind. It started with the Tom Bilyeu discussion. It really clicked during the recent WIC panel debate. There's a fundamental disconnect around just how bad Trump actually is. Because that prior isn't shared, many political conversations end up going nowhere. Now, I get what some might say. People constantly call Trump bad. They make content criticizing him. They disagree with him. They work against him. What more do you want? But it's not just that Trump is bad. It's how bad. That difference in degree becomes obvious when you look at how people argue, what they focus on, and how they respond to figures like Destiny or the soy pill. It was painfully clear when people kept comparing Trump to Democrats, or when Wick said folks would disown their friends and family over supporting Trump as if it were extreme. But if you truly internalize that Trump attempted an insurrection, this is undeniable. Had close ties with Epstein and may have protected him, possibly. Every indication right now seems to be that. Is actively undermining U.S. institutions, like all of them. What did Colombia just agreed to pay $200 million? I don't even know if this may be reading, put this in here. More than $200 million to settle because of anti-Semitism. I can't even believe this. Supports illegal deportations without due process. The Alien Enemies Act? then of course you disown someone who knowingly supports him. And no, bringing up Hillary's deplorables, Kyle Rittenhouse or Hunter Biden, isn't remotely comparable. Hunter said it best in his interview. If you take the worst things that Hunter Biden was accused of and you assume they're all true, they don't scratch the surface of even just the World Liberty Financial Organization, of just that. Then there's like 50 million other things you could bring up. Some centrists are starting to peel off, citing this like the Epstein revelations or the one big beautiful bill or tariffs, but how much do they really care? The fact that Wick, Conner, and Erdogan can end up in a situation where they're making these kinds of comparisons and attacking this. In
the mirror, it's like there are moments in Trump's presidency where that blonde hair just like goes and you can see it in the mirror and has just swatted away. But there are very Trumpian moments that are being revealed now with respect to his frustration with the DOJ that they're not protecting him, both in the Her report. He was apoplectic about the.
Like, think about what PSO just said there. It was very Trumpian when he was upset that a special counsel that had been appointed by his own attorney general in his own administration for secret documents that he turned over to on his own cognizance with his own willing to, right? That a special counsel was appointed in his own administration to release a scathing report on him when Donald Trump's own criminal indictment over documents that he most certainly stole illegally was dismissed, right? And basically like that he was frustrated by that. When Donald Trump spent how much of administration trying to kill the Mueller investigation? Mueller was only appointed because Donald Trump obstructed the investigation into his own election because Donald Trump fired Comey to obstruct the investigation. A belief, by the way, nobody ever talks about it. I have read through some of this. A belief, by the way, that I'm pretty sure is shared by Mueller, but nobody talks about the obstruction angle. I'm going to lose my mind. I can't. It might be in volume 2 of this. But Mueller walks through, I'm assuming he's the final author of this. He walks through all of the individuals or whatever that like, and how, obstruction of justice. Was it? The Comey stuff is certainly the worst. Oh, I already read some of this to you on stream. We got rid of Flynn now. We should be good, right? We're good, right? We're good, right?
The Her report, even though he cooperated in the first sentence, he was trying to do the right thing, but then that Trumpian little mirror came in and he had to sort of fight that urge. Same thing with Hunter Biden.
What is the Trumpian mirror? Like Pisco just said, he fully cooperated with it. What is the he even sat down and did deposition at time. What is the Trumpian mirror because he was upset? Like, does Pisco think Donald Trump is bad because he gets mad? Is that the thought process right now that leftists have been reduced to? Donald Trump is bad because he gets mad. And Joe Biden is like Trump because sometimes Joe Biden gets mad. Is that where we're at right now with our political analysis?
Where he fought that urge, and then gave into it when he actually did the pardon. And then with the border, right?
And pardoning Hunter was giving into his Trumpian urges. I can't even. It's unreal.
He kept saying, we have to do it the right way. We can't just do executive actions. We need to have a congressional solution. And then when the election was coming up, he did what I thought was against the law, and he shut down the border illegally using executive power and gave into that Trumpian impulse. And I think, or when he tried to hold on to power by not stepping down when it was clear it was over and taking 3 weeks before handing over to Kamala Harris or handing over to the DNC. Those are Trumpian moments that marred an otherwise a presidency that I think was by and large characterized by honor and trying to be everything that Trump wasn't.
Well, and I can understand the frustration. So, for instance, like I'm sure we'll talk about the Vanguard in a moment, but I can understand the frustrations of the far left, and I actually think that there's something real about it, which is effectively that people are so wrapped up in process that they will even ignore things that are immediate and emergent.
Like what?
I can understand the frustrations of the and I can understand the frustration. So, for instance, like I'm sure we'll talk about the Vanguard in a moment, but I can understand the frustrations of the far left, and I actually think that there's something real about it, which is effectively that people are so wrapped up in process that they will even ignore things that are immediate and emergencies and all that kind of stuff. But I think that this is how republics die. Okay. Part of the reason why I'm pushing back on the left, pushing back on the far left, pushing back on liberals whenever they say, I know we disagree on this, but let's pack the courts. Let's do Trump style politics. Let's use the bully pulpit. Let's do this. Let's do that. The reason why you'll hear me complaining about it is because effectively, like, I feel like we're seesawing as a nation. Like imagine like a boat that is, rocking.
It's just unreal. I just don't even know. I'm gaslit as f right now. It's like having a conversation about a guy who he flicked his girlfriend's ear and he thought it was cute and she's like, that actually hurts. And then you're like, we can't really take your opinions on like women's rights seriously. And then compares them to like Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, how are we supposed to choose between the two of you now? How can we possibly decide who's right? Like, this is how our system dies, is when you're doing crazy shit like that. Like when you flicked your ear that one time, like it's just like there's no way that we can possibly choose between. Like this is just unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
in the ocean. And so effectively what I hear is like, we're seesawed all the way to the right now. And what I'm hearing people is, oh, we need to seesaw all the way to the left right now. But that's how you capsize the boat. And that's what I'm worried about.
Well, let's get into the actual discussion from Vanguard, Hutch, all that stuff. So give me your reaction before I because I actually don't know it. I didn't. I saw you.
Yeah. I was thinking for Hutch. So I think Hutch has a debate kill shot in a couple of places. So the first kill shot that he had, argumentatively, in my opinion, was that you could not bully Manchin. So even if you so even if you want Democrats to use the bully pulpit more often, it just wasn't pragmatic in this specific circumstance. That's number one.
On that, I just want to say we agree on the specific Manchin point that he couldn't have gotten Manchin through bullying to be in favor of like $15 minimum wage or some of these crazy policy goals that the Vanguard is saying. And I just want to make sure that you understand that every one of the Live and Learn co-hosts agrees with Hutch, and we have been consistent on that. Like even before.
But I think you guys were again emotional versus logical arguments. I think people could kind of vibe on the fact.
Mr. Thomas, I have some bad news. You have a serious medical condition, and if you don't have surgery immediately, you'll likely die.
Oh my God.
With your current healthcare plan, you can only choose between 2 people to do the surgery, but the choice is totally yours. We have Dr. Stewart, a surgeon trained specifically in this procedure, or the circus clown.
Wow. Gotcha.
The first question is, has the surgeon, I haven't seen this video before, but I'm going to like it, I can tell. My first question would be, has the surgeon ever made a mistake ever in the history of his entire practice ever, even a single time? That's my first question. My second question would be, is he the best possible surgeon out of the entire field, or is there anybody better ever? And then my third question is, has the clown made somebody laugh recently? So at least he's like a likable guy that I could have a beer with. And if so, it's a coin flip.
Where did the surgeon go to school?
You heard your options, right?
Yeah, I know. It's just, this is my life we're talking about.
Yes.
I just want to make an informed decision.
Well, it looks like Dr. Stewart went to undergrad at Purdue University.
Ooh.
Not like a Harvard or the other one?
Like, true. Like, you said he was mad, and then you said, wait a second, Jack Tapper is now confirming reports that Joe Biden was furious? Wow.
He did undergrad at Purdue, and then med school at NYU, and then residency at Johns Hopkins.
And the clown?
Just a circus clown. Not a surgeon, but it does look like this clown was best known for performing at Bartholomew and Bott's Big Ring.
Oh my God, I've seen him. He's kind of famous.
Yeah, he's clown famous.
And the surgeon, he's not famous?
Well, he is very renowned in his field.
But I wouldn't recognize him from anything?
Anything being?
I don't know, like a show or Instagram or TikTok.
No.
It's a lot of moving around.
Huh?
The surgeon, a lot of moving around. Purdue, the other places that you said.
Yes.
So that's not suspicious to you?
No.
I see. So you're in on this?
In on what?
I see. And the clown? Did he do a lot of moving around during his experience?
You mean his experience as a clown and not a doctor of any kind?
Yes.
No. He was mostly just a clown for the one circus.
Solid track record then.
Okay, I feel like we're getting a little bit off topic. You need the surgery to save your life. And there is one doctor and one clown.
Man, that clown is funny.
Mr. Thomas, this is a very serious decision.
Right, of course, totally. And just to make sure, does the surgeon have good morals?
Every doctor takes the Hippocratic Oath, which is a pretty strict ethical code.
Well, that's very reassuring. And the clown? Is there some equivalency in the clown world?
No.
Are you sure? Feels like there should be.
I'm not sure, but there would be no reason for clowns to have a moral code because they don't deal with life or death situations.
Until now, that is.
Yeah.
So maybe they should fix that?
Or you...
This is like on, I think that Ellie girl was tweeting this out yesterday. It's like, why doesn't Destiny simply prove that he didn't, say this in particular? Why doesn't Destiny just prove that he didn't? It was like, wow, what? Do I need to release every single conversation I've had with every single person ever? What? How do you even do that? What?
You could just have him not operate on you.
For sure. It's just the surgeon is clearly a privileged elite.
Okay.
So obviously that means that he worships the devil and he dissects baby squirrels.
There is no reason to think that the surgeon does any of that.
But the idea's out there now, isn't it?
Because you said it.
I know, but now that it's out there, it just feels so icky.
I'll be honest with you. This clown has performed surgery before, and he has killed a lot of people.
How many people?
Over 200,000 in the last 8 months.
Wow, that is a lot of numbers. But maybe they would have died anyway?
But that's the point. Probably a lot of people could have been saved with the proper surgeon.
I'm leaning clown.
Why?
The clown told me he could do the surgery. And I don't know where you're getting your numbers, but the clown just gave me this very confident looking graph.
Oh my God, I can assure you, he doesn't know how to do surgery. He is a clown.
So one of you two is lying to me. How do I know that you're not the clown?
Because he's the clown.
Fair. He's very good at tricks, though. The satanic squirrel dissector, does he do tricks?
You mean the surgeon? He can do the very impressive trick of saving your life from all his years of training as a surgeon.
It'd be pretty wild, though, if the clown did my surgery. So crazy.
Yes, that would be crazy.
I know, he's not even trained.
Exactly. This clown has no idea what he's doing, and if you don't get the surgery, you will die.
Don't tell me what to do.
It's not telling you what to do if I'm just describing the facts of the world around you.
Well, don't describe the facts of the world around me.
Bias. That's a liberal bias. That's biased. Notice how the liberals only ever shut down the conservative conspiracies in 2020? Kind of biased, right? How they only ever attacked the COVID conspiracies and the vaccine conspiracies and the climate change conspiracies and the moon landing conspiracies. Just saying, you know.
If they're bad.
Okay, surgeon, clown. What are you gonna do?
I don't know yet, but maybe if I yell enough, I'll figure it out. You push me into this room and you put the weight of the world on my shoulders.
What? This isn't even a funny video, actually. I don't even like this. I'm hurting. Like, the only thing is, actually, it's a dog shit video because he shouldn't be about to give this speech. It should be somebody else that comes in and says, how do you expect this guy to choose the surgeon when you're sitting here, like, bullying him over his choice to choose the clown? Like, why are you're coming down so hard on this guy? What do you expect is going to happen?
But maybe if I yell enough, I'll figure it out. You push me into this room and you put the weight of the world on my shoulders, and then you tell me that my only and obvious choice is this buttoned up sucker, and then my only other option is this fake non-option, and you call me an idiot for doubting the integrity of the system itself? Well, as I see it, that's the only reasonable thing to do in this up scenario. And I don't know, maybe you're wrong. Maybe there is some other choice. Or maybe I can beat this thing on my own. Or maybe you're lying to me and I'm not even sick. Or maybe, just maybe, if I'm gonna die anyway, then my one mark on this stupid planet is to be the guy that got famous for having the world's most popular clown give him surgery. Cause f it, and f all of you. And the clown told me he could do it. Maybe it'll be great and cool.
I know this isn't easy or comfortable. This is a very serious situation. But there is hope. There is a way out. And yes, the system is flawed. And you and I might agree or we might disagree on how it's flawed, but it is. And that's why we need people like you to make it through the surgery so that you can make a difference and help change the system. This clown doesn't know how to do surgery.
I'm a great surgeon.
And if you let him, it's not going to be good. I promise you. He is bad, and he is not cool. And if enough people like you pick the clown, there might not even be a surgeon as an option next time.
I understand.
They missed the 20 seconds afterwards, though, where now after this happens, now you need a whole bunch of epic centrists to come in and go, we agree that picking the clown was a problem, but the surgeon lost the trust of this guy when 27 years ago they admitted that there was a technique they were using that was suboptimal versus another technique they could have used. So what do you expect the guy to do when you lose everybody's trust? By the way, you don't need a hypothetical for this. Like, we can just look at how many people like died early in the United States that didn't need to because they refused to get vaccinated for COVID. Like, that was some actual death cult. What was the date for this? Oh, it was October 2021. Nearly 319,000 COVID-19 deaths could have been averted if all adults had gotten vaccinated. And the reason why they didn't was just purely because of misinformation and lies from Trump and his compatriots. I don't know.
Yes, that's right, Laura. President Trump inherited a complete mess from Joe Biden in the previous administration.
This is Trump's daughter-in-law, this ghoulish-looking cunt, And then this, this is just like the most unserious.
It's alarming to me that there were people in positions of power in this big, beautiful White House behind me for 4 years who just sat back and watched as our country was invaded by millions of illegal aliens from countries all over the world. Many of
535.10. What is this?
Bullying to be in favor of like $15 minimum wage or some of these crazy policy goals that the Vanguard is saying. And I just want to make sure.
Result, the moderates will not come over to the left. If you sweep for, don't call out, endorse somebody who is preying on the downfall of the United States, openly endorses authoritarian communism, and openly endorses terrorism.
Hold on. What is this?
Gazan genocide. I think with stop. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer it. I think that with the insanity of MAGA, with the Epstein files, with the tariff economic implosions, with the chaos surrounding our neighbors, with the endorsement of the Gazan genocide, I think there are way more moderates up for grabs than there are leftists. Way more. And you're squandering that, which sucks.
Dude, I'm not talking about the moderates that Democrats could appeal to. I'm talking about Rob Noor.
I think, okay, what I'm saying is I think by choosing Hasan Piker to endorse him in any shape, form, capacity, you effectively make both sides look evil. And
wait, is that what is happening here? Hold on, I'll go back further. What are they even talking about here? Hold on. What?
2020, some prominent lefties came out and supported not just BLM as in a police reform movement. They talked about ACAB, they talked about defunding the police, they talked about this, they talked about that. They didn't do shit with it, by the way. They supported a bunch of anti-white racist shit at that time, and I went along with it because I was a lefty.
Sorry, hold on. Somebody said, Destiny, although the Epstein stuff seems like a layup against Trump, are you worried that taking advantage of it may only increase conspiratorial fervor and send it even further into hell? Yes, that's why I said I don't agree with necessarily pushing on the, like, let me be very clear. When I say I don't agree with pushing on Epstein conspiracy stuff, the idea that Trump might have f***ed a kid or something, I think that's a totally fine thing to ask questions about, okay? There is a very clear conflict of interest with Donald Trump solely directing his attorney general like a dog, which is exactly how he wants his Department of Justice to run, as evidenced by the fact that Barr abandoned him and he almost replaced an attorney general with an unqualified civil environmental lawyer at the end of his last term, okay? The fact that Donald Trump is giving personal instruction to a Department of Justice having to do with the investigation into a man that Donald Trump might be personally implicated with is unbelievable. That should be a special prosecutor, special counsel, like the easiest special counsel appointment in the world. But it'll never happen because Donald Trump believes in the unitary executive theory, meaning the president of the United States is in control of every single employee in every single branch of the federal government, of the executive branch at least. But that my worry now is not even that it's going to backfire by making people more conspiratorial, period, by believing in I'm saying like the conspiracy that you shouldn't believe in because there's never been evidence, but it's like the black book of massively blackmailed people. It doesn't make any sense. However, that's not even my big fear now. My big fear now is that we do get a black book and it is real because Ghislaine Maxwell and Pam Bondi sat together and drew one up in order to give cover to this administration. And now they release that so that she gets a pardon. Trump gets all these people off his back. And now you've got a new reason to go after a whole bunch of Democrats. Because because I absolutely wouldn't put it past anybody in that administration to do that at this point.
At the time, and then October 7, 2023 hit, and they came after the Jews, and that rubbed me the wrong way. So f these people. That's what I heard.
I mean, I'll just give you the even harder hypothetical. I don't know what you're going to bite it. Hasan, who voted for Kamala, or Rob Noor, who's a closer ally?
Just to be clear, Hasan probably didn't vote for Kamala, and we don't know if Hasan voted for Kamala. So I don't know why we're saying that or giving that as true. But
ally to whom? You or me?
You both.
Okay, so I think for you, Hasan is probably a closer ally. I think for me, Rob is still a closer ally.
Rob, who not only voted for a fascist, Rob, who plays cover for that fascist on a daily basis. Yeah,
you know why?
A little bit here and there.
I'll explain why. Because number one, Rob doesn't think he's voting for a fascist. Number two, he has I think delusional, but he has a real narrative that he's built in his head for why Democrats are the real fascists. Then also what Rob ultimately wants is he wants working class and middle class Americans to be able to wake up, work, pay their bills, take care of their family, and not be under a corrupt government that keeps getting them into international misadventures that cost Americans the blood and treasure of his country. He's a nationalist. You can say that he's delusional, but I respect more the instinct of Rob Noor to actually care about the United States, to love the United States, to care about its people versus shut the fuck up.
This is it's horrible to say this, but to some extent, it's true. It's like if you had to choose right now, with both of them supporting the things they do, between Ted Cruz or Tucker Carlson for the United States, what a horrible choice. But you're going with Ted Cruz because at least he doesn't hate the United States and support international terrorism against it like Tucker Carlson does. Hasan Piker does support international terrorism. He does support the enemies of the United States, and he does hate this country, and he wants to see it collapse or fail or install some sort of, you know, communist authoritarian regime. Like he's more or less said as much. Like, it's not really even up for hypotheticals at this point. At least like the Republicans kind of sort of play coy with supporting this stuff a little bit, although it's gotten a lot less under Donald Trump, to be fair. But
Hasan Piker, who is antipathetic to the United States. He hates the United States. He hates the Constitution. He hates the liberal democracy. He sims for authoritarian regimes. He sims for jihadist organizations. He sims for authoritarian communist organizations. He wants to see the downfall of the United States. You better believe goddamn well that Rob Noor is a closer ally to me than Hasan Piker. 10 toes down. At least
electorally, you would agree by definition Hasan would be a closer ally.
Yeah, sure.
Electorally? What a worthless statement, though. What a worthless statement.
Electorally, not ideologically.
So if I'm the Democratic Party, you would agree, not just me, crazy Pisco, crazy like awakened lefty Pisco, that for the Democratic Party, they should be, if they had to choose to build a bridge with someone, the closer bridge would be Hasan than Rob. You must.
No, because you're like Connor is a further bridge away, and Hasan is technically closer, but in the direction of Connor is way more voters versus the direction of Hasan is losing everything. You have no support at that extreme.
No, I think there are.
Like, let's say that you had a person who was incredibly fucking hungry, and the person is standing here, and right here they have like a steak, and then over here they have like another steak, but they also have like all this other food in the meantime, right? Like, well, which one do you want to go for? It's like, well, this one is technically closer than that one, but directionally, this is just way, 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 way better. Like, it's not even close.
Think with stop. You asked me a question, I'm going to answer it. I think that with the insanity of MAGA,
like where there is so many, where are all the examples of this far leftish working? All their candidates lose, except Mamdani they got now in New York City because of ran Cuomo, right? There was no massive expansion of the Justice Democrats. People like Bernie Sanders and AOC are fucking hated and witch hunted by these people online. People like AOC have moderated a great deal in order to gain the political influence that they have now. All of the far lefty policies ended up being electorally detrimental to the Democrats. The BLM bullshit had to be disavowed in order to win that election. Not like the young people never materialized for these single payer healthcare votes. The thing that Kamala Harris got hit the most on was stuff like the trans or whatever that conservatives obsess over. Like, what is this thought or idea that we need to go further in that direction?
With the Epstein files, with the tariff economic implosions, with the chaos surrounding our neighbors, with the endorsement of the Gazan genocide, I think there are way more moderates up for grabs than there are leftists. Way more. And you're
I just don't like calling them moderates. You're just like your normal center-left voters.
Doing that, which sucks.
Dude, I'm not talking about the moderates that Democrats could appeal to. I'm talking about Rob Noor.
I think, okay, what I'm saying is, I think by choosing Hasan Piker to endorse him in any shape, form, capacity, you effectively make both sides look evil. And so as a result, the moderates will not come over to the left. If you sweep for, don't call out, endorse somebody who is preying on the downfall of the United States, openly endorses authoritarian communism, and openly endorses terrorism.
You don't want to be seen at all in any capacity, in any hypothetical, even expressing a preference for Hasan, even when it's this crazy, because you're DGG baiting, because you know that if you say anything positive, even as a hypothetical, even in comparison to a major magatard like Rob Noor, that you can't, even in that context, even in that crazy context, where
it's like this is the same thing. He doesn't think Hasan is that bad either. I can't believe that so much insane shit has been radicalized. This is like the precursor to the Nazi Germany shit, right? But at least they had like a reason. That's the thing that bothers me the most of like the US is going in this direction, is that like there's not even like a reason for it to be happening, right? Like at least like World War I over, like you have like what 3 or 4 fallen empires after World War I. You've got to dispossess people who've been stripped of a ton of, there's so much going on that it's like, not good, but I kind of get it. And in the United States, like nothing is happening. Like there's no, like we're on top of the fucking world in like every conceivable metric. We still kind of sort of barely even are, right? Scientific research, bringing over, revolutionizing, look at Elon Musk, space travel and electric vehicles, AI and all this bullshit. And for some reason we're getting radicalized by our complacency? I don't even understand. I don't get it. I thought that like war and conflict was supposed to breed radicalization and the hatred for the status quo, not just boringness. Like this is, I don't think even, oh no, would Asmongold do it now? I guess maybe kind of because the Trump admin does it. Like, where is it? Nick was on stream, right? Where's the video of him watching, or the VOD of him watching the hijacking with Nick?
I need your ID also, please, sir.
How do you like read this stuff all day and like not like cry yourself to sleep at night? This is horrible.
I'm motivated by the change that I might actually create in this world by educating one extra person, whether it's you or thousands of others that learn what the truth actually is and change their minds and then go out and protest. And I've been doing this for, especially this is an issue that I've spoken about for years at this point, 10 years. I mean, we're talking about some complex stuff right now. If you
wait, is it even here?
Through here, we're going to take it. So that's exactly what the Houthis do. Insane arsenal that they are not afraid of you. And you're like, what do you mean? You guys just overcame a genocide. What do you mean you're going to blow it up? I didn't even think that the Houthis... You're like, oh, well, this is...
Oh, I can't, guys. I have to stop reminding. Every time I hear him say something wrong, I need to go back 20 seconds for context. And then he says something else. Holy shit.
My guy. This guy should be in charge, actually. But then everyone's like, well, we hate that guy. They might not even like the Houthis themselves, but they're like, well, we don't like this guy either, right? And everyone is trying to take advantage of that situation. All these other regional actors are trying to take advantage of that situation. Houthis basically come out as the victors from that, okay? And they set up a new coalition called the Ansar Allah movement in Yemen. And what they immediately start doing is they start saying, oh, Israel, you're going to blow up Palestinians? Well, guess what? We're going to blow you up. And you're like, what do you mean? You guys just overcame a genocide. What do you mean you're going to blow it up? I didn't even think that the Houthis had
overcame a genocide? Bro, the Houthis were literally stealing food and shit. Other countries stopped even providing support to Yemen for this shit. Bro, Saudi Arabia couldn't genocide anybody. They're the most worthless organization, military, whatever the fuck in the world.
Okay, I didn't think that the Ansar Allah movement was going to do that shit. Okay, I thought all they did was...
And he thinks the Houthis give a fuck about Palestinians? The Houthis don't give a fuck. This whole family, Yemen, does not give a fuck about Palestinians. They only are barely involved in this shit because they're trying to get shit from Iran to help them fight. It's so cringe.
Basically, walk around with blades in their belts and look cool, okay?
Oh, look cool. Walk around with blades in their belts and look cool.
And make musicals. They make a lot of musicals.
And make musicals.
I can show you some of them in a second.
Oh, okay.
Well, it turns out they do more than that because they do also get like a lot of weapons from Iran, which is a much larger regional actor as well. Outside of the musicals, they also literally have an insane arsenal that they are not afraid of using against anyone and everyone. So they go, guess what? Hey, you like the Suez Canal? You like the Strait? You like the Red Sea right here? You like that trade route? It's gone. How are they going to do that? America does it all the time. How are the Houthis going to do that?
America does it all the time. We shut down international shipping and trade routes to everybody. What?
Well, they go, listen, you want to bring a ship through here? We're going to take it. So that's exactly what the Houthis start doing. They start sending in helicopters onto ships and taking over the ships and going, it's our ship. Yes, exactly like Rust. Wait, we got to have that.
They're doing cargo.
We have to, yeah.
Like he's just talking about hijacking civilian shipping vessels. This is evil, right? This is supporting terrorism. That's what this is. This is like evil shit. This is a year ago.
Here it is.
Is it Rust?
Bro, they got the Palestinian flag that they painted under the helicopter, the Yemen flag. They start overtaking the ships, and they're like, guess what, dog? No more trade to Israel. If you're an Israeli...
It's not trade to Israel. It's trade to anybody. The ship wasn't even connected to anything having to do with Israel.
If you're owned by an Israeli corporation, or if you are actually sending ships to the Israeli port of... it's not Eilat, it's the other one that is now bankrupt. But what was the other port? Haifa, right? Is Haifa the bankrupt one? Anyway, there's a lot of information. I can't recall all of it. But they go, if you are sending ships into Israel, if you are owned by an Israeli subsidiary, if you're owned by an Israeli corporation, we're going to take over your ship. You cannot this trade route anymore. Guess what, bitch? Our territorial boundary, and we're going to enforce this until...
Like, Nick Fuentes is more subtle with his shit than this. Like, this is the issue. Nobody thinks this is that bad. This is unhinged. This is like insane shit. Like, the Houthis are unhinged. Like, if all of them disappeared from the face of the earth, everybody would be better off for it, including the people in Yemen. Everybody would be better off for it. Like, the fact that he can sit here and champion not even like the Houthis conceptually as an unfortunate reality of what happens to a people who are attacked by every other fucking Arab state for however many a century, that, you know, like a necessary evil, that right, like, but to just champion them and celebrate them as a musical people as they hijack civilian ships.
Oh, you stop doing genocide in Gaza. Because they say it. They're like, listen,
this is
we don't like you. We're not a fan of you. Okay.
This is like a third party.
Yeah, this is a group of people that are like, no, we care about the Palestinians. We don't want you bombing them. So we're going to take action. And we're going to try to punish you economically to the best of our ability. Basically, Operation Prosperity Guardian starts, okay? It's a United States-led military operation by a multinational coalition formed in December 2023 to respond to the Houthi-led attacks on shipping in the Red Sea. Okay? Here are the belligerents. The United States Navy, the Royal Navy, the Royal Australian Navy, the Royal Bahrain Naval Force, the Royal Canadian Navy, the Royal Danish Navy, the Finnish Navy. One of my favorite was the Seychelles Coast Guard that also were like, we'll take some of that piece. We'll take a piece of that action. Anyway, ultimately, this coalition of royal navies and forces got together and they were pummeling Yemen. They were blowing up Yemeni positions where they have rockets or whatever, right? But to the Yemeni people, they were like, dog, death is all we know. We just overcame a genocide. You think this is going to stop us? I'm going to make more musicals now. So they did. And they started bombing American military ships, Navy ships. They even recently, and this was like kind of reported. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they might have even targeted the
like, imagine having to fight with your hands behind your back against like this group of terrorists, and then people like Hasan are like, oh, look at you, like you can barely do anything. Oh, you can like, and meanwhile you're like investing, like there's more money that probably goes into a single strike than what collectively all of the Houthis spend in a year on old AK-47 military surplus from World War II or whatever, and people like Hasan present this as though they're winning, and it's not like a deliberate effort by the first world to try to be as careful as possible so they're not just indiscriminately destroying and murdering 500 million people. Just by the way, Israel sees people like this and Israel's like, yeah, you know what, if we kill some extra people, who cares? Because why the would it matter anyways? I'm sorry. And also, hold on, just to remember, was there a single civilian casualty when we bombed those missile sites? When Biden did the, it was when Biden was there a single civilian casualty at all? Cold War, not World War II. I don't know if a single person, I don't even know if a military person, at least in the initial strike, like this is the level of care. And then meanwhile, the Houthi strap bombs to little boats and send them off towards ships. Oh, look at how epic this is. Oh, look at how epic. Oh, you're so epic, bro. They'll just like put a bunch of explosives in a ship like this, and then they'll like, and I don't think they said drone. I don't know if it's drone control. I think they just push the gas and put a rock on the wheel so it doesn't turn. Epic. So epic.
Naval vessel for refueling the other naval ships in the region. They had to literally tow that away, but
they're not afraid.
Basically, and I'm going to show you this. Here are the Houthis hammering 3 U.S. warships with 23 ballistic missiles and drones from the Red Sea after the Tel Aviv attack. And I'm going to run the 3-minute ad break right now, and I'm also going to pee real quickly. Okay?
Did they end up hitting any of the U.S. ships at all, or destroying any of them? Or I don't remember the article.
I'll be back in a second. You watch this.
Okay, so this is going on, like right now.
And then he just leaves.
Is it embarrassing to say that I had no idea this was happening? Like no one told me this. Like no one told me this was going on. This is kind of scary. Oh my god. I assume people are getting hurt when all this is happening. I like coming over here because I learn so much about things I don't know. I'll never take time at home to learn about this sort of stuff. Every time I see some of these missiles getting shot, it just seems like that money could have been put somewhere else, somewhere better for anybody. All this seems like a waste of money in life, you know?
Wait, the reason why I brought all this up is because you're right, it is a huge waste of money.
Yeah.
And it's especially a huge waste of money because the Ansar Allah movement, the Houthis in Yemen, said there's an alternative out there where we don't have to do this, blowing up ships, right?
Who said this?
What is this? Oh, this is, hold on. There is an alternative out there where we don't have to wage war like this, right? It's a beautiful, prosperous alternative. It's called Israel Stop Doing Genocide in Gaza.
Right.
So they said it. They were very clear. They're like, we'll stop. We don't give a. It's not like we love blowing up the ships. Just stop doing genocide in Gaza. But Israel was like, no, we have to keep doing genocide in Gaza. So America was like, of course, Israel is our ally. We have to do everything we can to bring them.
Is Hasan actively rooting against the U.S. Navy here? Yes. No. Sherlock, yes. These people love dead Palestinian children. They love dead Americans. They love dead military people. And yes, it's just insane. That's why I'm saying that, like, as much as it hurts to say this, like, Connor's position is not untenable here. It's actually incredibly easy to defend. If somebody comes up to you and they say, do you want Hitler ruling your country? And you're like, ooh, probably not. Okay, well, your choice is between Hitler and a guy that wants to self-destruct your entire country and have all of you dead. It's like, well, oh, that kind of sucks. But I mean, like, I'm probably going to have to go with the Hitler there. Sorry, man. It sucks, but like, what do you want me to say, right? Rob Noor is a lunatic, and he probably is like if he's not fascist, he's at the very least he's like fascist adjacent, but at least you get to live in a fascist world. Or I don't know what Hasan would do if Hasan would just have the entire United States nuked off the face of the earth. Who the knows?
openly endorses authoritarian communism and openly endorses terrorism.
You don't want to be seen at all in any capacity, in any hypothetical, even expressing a preference for Hasan, even when it's this crazy, because you're DGG baiting, because you know that if you say anything positive, even as a hypothetical, even in comparison to a major magatard like Rob Noor, that you can't, even in that context.
Like him saying that a major magatard, Hasan is worse than Rob Noor. I don't think Pisco knows that. And Rob Noor is really bad. I don't think, but I also don't even know if Pisco knows how bad Rob Noor is because they're friends. I don't even know. Like, it's insane.
Even in that crazy context where the choices between Rob and Hasan as an ally for the Democratic Party, even in that situation, you're unwilling to express a preference for Hasan. That shows you are cooked, my friend. I can't believe you would actually say that.
No. You just ignored what I said. You just ignored what I said.
Okay, yeah.
So I think you asked me if MAGA or whatever, or if Rob was reachable, and then you asked me in the hypothetical, who should we pursue, Hasan or Rob?
Who's a closer ally? For the Democrats,
I already answered this. Politically, Hasan. Ideologically, for me, Rob Noor. Right? Okay. So what I'm saying, but listen to me when I say this. Ignore everything that's happened for the past 2 minutes, okay? What I'm saying is, if you actively pursue Hasan or sweep for Hasan, you, like, let's say for every Hasan person you get, you are going to lose 2 to 3 moderates. 100%. All day, every day. I'm not talking about Rob Noor. I'm talking about moderates, independents, and contrarians like Tallybots, who, maybe Tally's a bad example because she wouldn't own her bullshit. But there's other people like Tally who probably did a protest vote. They wrote in Jill Stein, they wrote in a libertarian, they wrote in this person, they wrote in that person. If you give them a viable alternative, they will pick the viable alternative over MAGA. And if you endorse terrorism and if you endorse Hasan Piker, you're fucked.
Who's the closer ally for the DNC, Nick Fuentes or Hasan Piker?
This is a bad question. And I don't know if Pisco is intentionally setting a logic trap here that it doesn't work. Like, the question is not, who are you more ideologically aligned with, right? If you're here, someone else is here, and then somebody else is here, like, you might be more ideologically aligned with this person, but there might be more voters. If we were to draw like a normal distribution of voters here, this is the worst. I suck at drawing. I don't care. That's close enough. If you were to say who you're more ideologically aligned with, this person or this person? Well, this person. But we don't look at who we're more ideologically aligned with when we're trying to get more voters, right? If more voters happen to exist here, which for better or for worse in the United States, they probably do exist more here, then you go in this direction. You would go towards Nick Fuentes, you would go towards Donald Trump, or you would go towards Rob Noor, not with any intention of ever getting there, obviously, but the idea that just because this guy happens to be closer to you politically, that means that it's more politically effective to move in that direction? It doesn't logically follow. It's such an absurd question.
Yeah, Hasan Piker, obviously.
Okay, as between Charlie Kirk and Hasan Piker, who's a closer ally?
Like, it's not even a real...
Charlie Kirk.
For the DNC. I mean, I can't explain this by anything other than you're trying to optics right now. You must.
And then Pisco loves to do this thing where he's like, you guys are just mad at me because I'm an epic, objective person. And you guys are, he does like a thing he's done for like a year, at least I've heard him say this. You guys just get mad at me because I'm objective here and you guys are all brainwashed or whatever.
Must be trying to do that.
No.
I've already answered. It's a better ally to the DNC than Hasan Piker.
Like, see the trick he's playing here? And I know he's smart enough to know this, right? So he's just trying to mindfuck. He's just trying to mindfuck Connor. He's playing a trick here, right? It's not a matter of who's a closer ally. It's what direction do you head in?
I've already answered your question 2 or 3 times.
Like, the DNC does not have a problem right now with cozying up to Charlie Kirk or cozying up to Donald Trump. The issue is cozying up to crazy leftists like Hasan. That's the issue.
Okay, all right.
There's politically, which is the vote. If you want to talk about the vote, obviously Hasan Piker is more useful to the DNC.
Somehow Connor is getting this 100%.
Than Charlie Kirk. If you're talking about ideology, which I've mentioned 3 times right now, Hasan Piker Hasan Piker wants to see the downfall of the United States. Charlie Kirk, in my opinion, thinks that he's fulfilling the promise of the United States. He's a delusional freak, but he doesn't want to see the downfall of the United States of America.
Oof, I'm gonna be careful what I say next. Hang on, let me just think. Give me a second to think.
Oh boy, we're about to hear the most.
And leave in a minute, and I need to read a super chat as well. So, but make a good point. Make a good point. I'll respond to it. I'll read you the super chats, and then we can continue this a different day.
Okay. I think you have Hasan derangement syndrome.
I don't.
Oh my God. And then they don't think he's that bad. This is it. They just don't think he's that bad. I don't know what to say or do. I'm just gonna make more kitty fucking jokes and kid killing jokes, and eventually, I guess, maybe I need other people to do it with me. At some point, I guess it gets normalized and nobody cares anymore, huh? Is that all it is? Is that like I should just do it more, and then eventually it's like just not a big deal? What's like the most unhinged shit I could joke about? I did one a little bit ago on some MAGA people. I'll just keep doing this, I guess, every single day, and then eventually we can just keep pushing it further and further and further, and it's...
I don't at all. I don't. Why the fuck? I think you have Hasan devotion syndrome.
Yes! True. Yes. I am 100% vindicated in Hasan's story. Why? How? Because I found out they got kicked out of global entry? That doesn't even That doesn't cut in any way, size, shape, or form. It's like, well, I know he lost global entry because of his political views. How do you know that? What? Like,
Okay.
Meanwhile, every piece of evidence cuts against Hasan, right? Oh, he was kicked out of global entry before he came back to the United States. Oh, okay. Oh, he was kicked out like 2 days after the Houthis were declared a terrorist organization. And Hasan was tweeting out kind of death threats about Rick Scott. Oh, we find out that Hasan's stay at the interrogation room wasn't 2 hours. It was 15 minutes. And Hasan didn't even give a when people corrected him on it. Like every piece of evidence cuts against him. Pisco, but if you ask Pisco today, he would still say, oh yeah, I'm 100% confident that Hasan was politically targeted at the border. I'm guaranteed he holds that position still today.
I don't. Why the I think you have Hasan devotion syndrome. Okay.
Yeah, I'm a devotee to Hasan.
No,
I condemned him.
No, I just took the Trump devotion syndrome and I inverted it.
Okay.
Hold on. In what world should you ever cater to a human being who says that it's good to shoot missiles into civilian commercial vessels?
I can't even believe that Connor has to fucking ask this question. It's like, this is such an unhinged, insane fucking conversation right now.
I'm not saying that's good. No, I'm not saying that that's good. I'm saying as between Charlie Kirk and Hasan, Charlie Kirk is incredibly illiberal.
I don't even know if Charlie Kirk has said anything on that level, because at least like Republicans kind of sort of, or at least the ones around Trump kind of sort of have to kind of play a little bit of a game.
Charlie Kirk is not a liberal. Charlie Kirk is a fascist. He's part of this like Hitler Youth movement in our country.
I think he's so he might just be self-deluding.
Like ironically enough, part of the reason why people ended up going with Hitler in Germany is because they were afraid of the socialists and because of the revolution with Lenin and the Soviet Union, all right, in Russia. Like, that is part of the reason why people ended up going with the Nazis. Like, they're saying this, like, it's incredible that anybody would make that decision. Nobody likes either of these groups of people. They're both horrible.
Hasan Piker is so stupid. Do you think Hasan Piker is so stupid that he's delusional?
Also, Charlie Kirk is more of a quote-unquote liberal, like liberalism. Charlie Kirk is more of a liberal than Hasan Piker is. Even though, like, Charlie Kirk would support fascism under Trump. He's already proven as much. He would. Charlie Kirk would. But made president, would Charlie Kirk choose fascism on his own? I'm not actually sure. I don't know. I don't think Ted Cruz would, but I think these guys will go along with it with Trump, which is, maybe that's worse. It's disgusting. It shows lack of spine. But Hasan made dictator. It's not like Hasan is following anybody right now. It's not like Hasan is an excuse to be an actual terrorist cum slurp, right? He's doing it all on his own, sometimes to his detriment. Charlie Kirk worships Trump and follows Trump to the ends of the earth. Why? Because it's made him one of the most prominent political people in the United States. Hasan Piker supports terrorists to his own detriment. He lost the largest podcast he's ever been a co-host on because he couldn't help but be so anti-Semitic and obsessed with Arab terrorism that he lost his position on that show. Like, it's insane. That's insane. I had to change my whole mental model of Hasan after the Ethan Klein shit. Because if you ever watched me prior to that, I'd say, no, Hasan is cloud obsessed. He's an opportunist. I didn't even think Hasan Piker had a strong ideology until he left that. And I'd be like, holy shit, I have to actually I have to revisit. I got to rethink this. Because my prior mental model of Hasan would have never predicted him losing Ethan Klein's show. He wouldn't have lost that access because his son's too scared to venture outside of Twitch for any kind of confrontational stuff. And Ethan Klein was his best way to grow his audience and reach out. And I would have said, no, he'll tell his audience to chill. He'll pull back on some of the rhetoric. I never would have predicted that. Now I would, because I understand Hasan is a lot more ideologically driven than I would have previously assumed otherwise.
Do you think Hasan Piker is so stupid? Do you think Hasan Piker is so stupid that he's delusional?
In our country, Charlie Kirk is a fascist. He's part of this like Hitler Youth movement in our country.
I think he's so he might just be self-deluding. Do you think Hasan Piker is so stupid? Do you think Hasan Piker is so stupid that he's delusional?
Dude.
No, I'm asking. If you say yes, then I could just be like, okay, both of these people are stupid and delusional.
In terms of like
Charlie is not stupid.
Brain matter and brain neurons, I think that Charlie Kirk is probably smarter than Hasan Piker. Do you agree?
Yeah, probably.
So, but you're like, Charlie Kirk, I believe, is genuinely a liberal.
No. I think
there's more evidence for Charlie Kirk. Be careful if you're saying liberal like Democrat or liberal like liberalism. There's way more evidence that Charlie Kirk is a fan of liberalism more so than Hasan Piker, regardless of if he would support a fascist or not.
If it came down to a vote to abolish amendments of the United States of America, I don't think Charlie Kirk would vote to abolish amendments of the United States of America.
Depends on which ones. Hasan would get rid of more amendments. Let's just say that. Or he would just toss the whole Constitution. I don't know.
Meaning about Trump term 3, do you think that if Trump tried to run for a third term, he wouldn't be in favor of it? Charlie Kirk is talking about changing the 14th Amendment citizenship clause. He'll make any excuse in the book to change the Constitution to fulfill his authoritarian aims. What are you talking about?
You can put this in the thumbnail again. I concede Charlie Kirk is and evil.
I didn't make the thumbnail, bro. I don't make the thumbnail. Right?
Is that a good enough thumbnail for you?
He's liberal.
Thumbnail guy. Put I concede, and then people will watch this and be like, oh my God, he's so own Connor in the marketplace of ideas. What a dumbass. Fuck this guy's so stupid. And then they can finally get to the segment where I say I concede, and the thing that I'm conceding is that Charlie Kirk is a dipshit. Sure. But you win. Charlie Kirk's an illiberal dipshit.
So here's the question. Who would you rather have as president, Charlie Kirk or Hasan Piker?
Charlie Kirk, all day. All day.
I just don't understand that. Yeah, but okay.
Well, maybe because Hasan Piker sims for all of the enemies of the United States of America. That's actually pretty understandable. If you're not dumb
terrorists, like actual terrorists.
Anyways,
not even like good enemies. Not even like China, Russia. I don't know if I say Russia's a good one, but at least it's better than fucking Islamic extremists. That's the shit that was supposed to go out of favor after 9/11. What the fuck?
Yeah, read the super chat. The last thing I'll say is, I think we actually disagree on who the enemy is. I think that is at the end of the day, like there's a greater enemy here.
Who's your enemy?
Charlie Kirk and his ilk. MAGA is my enemy.
Okay.
That's my main enemy.
MAGA is my enemy. My enemy is also no. I probably hold. This is probably the sincere difference between us. My enemy is also the far left and half of progressivism simultaneously. I have two enemies.
Equal. Who's your greater enemy? Well, I think you already said it. Your greater enemy.
Well, by the way, progressivism was a greater cultural enemy over the past decade. MAGA is clearly the bigger, the bigger political threat right now. But just because, like Henry Kissinger, he says like it's a shame that both can't lose. I'm fighting for a center left, center right coalition because I want MAGA to lose and I want the far left to lose.
Gun to head, you'll pick the fascists over the commie.
Yep. I unironically, like in Chile, I will unironically pick Bukele and what's the other guy? Chile. He's the dictator. He's the guy who threw people out of airplanes. What was his name?
It's so funny that both of these ideologies like suck shit so much. Like communists were supposed to deliver like freedom for the workplace and the ability to own your own business and all this shit, and all their people are poor and starving and they suck shit. And it's just massive failure on every level. And they all became authoritarian dictatorships anyway. And then fascism was supposed to be like the military, mightiest racially pure societies ever, and all of them like lose their first major war and just like go extinct. It's just funny that these ideologies, they suck so much for what they're supposed to fucking do. Holy
we're talking about
Pinochet. I would pick Pinochet and Bukele over Maduro.
And Allende.
Probably. All right. Anyways, let me read you some super chats.
Yeah.
Why? You're just trying to trigger me now with these clips. I don't care. Last one. No more after this.
Okay. Second to last caller, DRT0. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to ask you, basically my premise is that Trump and MAGA are worse than the lefties and the tankies.
Yep, I think we agree.
But liberals should still be intolerant and go out and root out lefties and tankies from the liberal movement.
Yep.
Okay.
Easy.
Agree with this?
Yeah.
I think I agree with tankies to the extent that tankies are like Stalin supporters or people who fundamentally want to like destroy the project that I care about, which is, I think, defending the Republic. But it depends on what your definition of tankies are. Lefties, I think, is too broad of a term. And there are lefties, I think, that should not be rooted out.
Do you think Marxist-Leninists as a whole should be rooted out?
Marxist-Leninists as a whole. Leninists? I think probably. If you're ideologically a Leninist. Marxists generally, no.
Basically, people who support
like
revolution,
like violent revolution in this country, or the overthrow of our constitutional order. I don't.
Democratic revolution.
Yeah, I don't think that we should have in our coalition people who support illegal, unconstitutional revolution in this country. Because my number one thing is supporting the Constitution.
Would you support? You wouldn't also support?
Those qualifiers are really scary. He says, "I wouldn't support illegal, unconstitutional revolution." Makes me wonder, does that mean we would support some kind, or those qualifiers were a little spooky.
Our coalition, people who support illegal, unconstitutional revolution in this country, because my number one thing is supporting the Constitution.
Would you support? You wouldn't also support, I guess, legal means to remove democracy as well, right?
Yeah, so even if it's legal means to remove some of the basic structures of our Constitution, like representative democracy at all. So someone who says that they're against elections, against having representative democracy, but it comes in different like shades of gray. So like I, for example, want to get rid of the Electoral College. I don't think that makes me anti-democratic. I, for example, want to get rid of the Senate not being proportional. I think that's not anti-democratic, or that's like a change that I would make that fundamentally changes the election system. I would like pass a law that gets rid of partisan gerrymandering. That's affecting how the state's conducted. So there are some structural things that I might change about how we vote. But yeah, if people had an ideological position and wanted to institute like a dictatorship, I don't think they should be part of the coalition. I don't think they're real Democrats.
Okay, then do you think that Hasan wouldn't fall into this camp of people we should root out from the movement?
When you say root out from the movement, what do you mean by that?
I mean, he shouldn't be allowed to LARP as progressive and as a Democrat.
I wouldn't
show unopposed and pretend that he's like a just your Joe Rogan for the Democrats.
I would support the Democrats not spending their capital on Hasan until and unless Hasan is willing to vocally signal his support for Democrats over Republicans in an electoral system. That's I think the limiting principle there. I haven't heard enough from Hasan to know that he is someone who would try to take away representative democracy overall. But maybe you think, but if he took the position that we should support Democrats in an election and y'all should be voting for your local Democrat every time, and he took that position strongly, I think the Democrats should probably consider.
They just don't think he's that bad. Nobody thinks anything's that bad. That's it. That is the answer to everything. I just need to sit with that in my mind and let that cook it for a few weeks. I don't know what I guess it's all just like none of the extremists are that bad, I guess.
Building bridges.
What do you think? Can you infer what Hasan's positions might be based on the things he supports and statements he's had about other subjects? Or do you need him to tell you, oh, I want this system in America specifically? Or can you also take his statements on systems in other countries, or also statements about his strategy? Because previously he said that his objective is to be a gateway to Marxist-Leninists.
He said Marxist-Leninists?
Yeah, to the deprogram guys, to their. He said that he's a pipeline.
Sorry, I'm asking something specific. So you think that are there statements of Hasan supporting Lenin?
So I don't think Pisco knows this, although he's going to later say that he did know it and he read a whole book on it. But Marxist-Leninists, this is not like Marxists and Leninists. Like ML are referred to, it's a political ideology called Marxism-Leninism. You call them Marxist-Leninists. It's like Marxist-Leninist or ML. It's not two separate things. I think this is like the early ideology, like right after Lenin came over. This is like the extremist hardcore. When people say they're MLs, they're telling you that they're tankies in like lesser words. It's somebody saying like, oh, I'm an ML is like a person like, oh, I'm a Christian nationalist, right? Oh, you're fascist, right? This is more or less what we're talking about. It's not like a Leninist or Marxist. There might be a thing. I think Leninism was a thing. I don't know, but I don't even know what that entails. I don't think anybody calls themselves Leninists today or whatever. But Destiny, that's what I meant. I should have been more clear. Oh no, it's fine. I'm surprised Pisco hasn't heard this term before.
Almost definitely. Like
But you're not sure, right? As you sit here, you're not sure. No, I'm just asking. As you sit here right now, you're unsure, correct?
Right now, yes.
Okay.
I've watched Hasan enough, and I've seen him definitely support one party rule in China. I think I've seen him support one party rule in Cuba. I'm pretty sure he supported the USSR for various things.
So he supported the government. He thought the Soviet Union was based, and he thought that the Castro was based, and the Chinese Communist Party is based.
In terms of, I think I've seen him support one party rule in Cuba. I'm pretty sure he supported the USSR for various things.
So he supported the government. He thought the Soviet Union was based, and he thought that the Castro was based, and the Chinese Communist Party is based.
In terms of he's signaled about things they've done wrong, but he generally has shown support for their style of governance as well.
Okay, if he support their style of government, unless he's willing, again, like I said, unless he's willing to show that he, by supporting mainstream Democrats who almost certainly do not have that allegiance, I wouldn't want him around. Like if he's not going.
He says, if you're not knowing what ML is, his streaming partner is an ML. Well, I think that Aaron is like masculine a lot, I think. So maybe he doesn't realize it because she doesn't say as much about it. Apparently did they stream today going over, I don't know what they talked about here. Oh God. Maybe it's just never come up before, but unless Aaron has changed, she's a Marxist-Leninist, pretty sure.
Going to support mainstream Democrats, and I think supporting mainstream Democrats, if you said some cringe things in the past, I'm not going to say that you're necessarily cut out of the coalition, but supporting mainstream Democrats, I think would be a signal to me that he's enough ingratiated in the movement that I really wouldn't care as much on the statements in the past where of a character to suggest that he, I don't know, he's only supporting these candidates to institute autocracy. But I think support for, like, for example, if he vocally supported and said, everyone should go vote for Joe Biden, everyone should go vote for Kamala Harris, you would think the Democrats should embrace that message, right? And retweet him when he does the endorsement?
I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, he would be the equivalent to Richard Spencer telling me to vote for Joe Biden.
Correct.
Really?
Good example. Except actually, I'm sorry. It's not a good example. It's a fine example for this, but I would say it's not a good example because Hasan Piker is far more radical than Richard Spencer has ever been publicly. So I would say that Richard Spencer is not even close to as radical, and now especially not even close to as radical as Hasan Piker is. But for the purpose of this conversation, it's a good example.
I wouldn't give a fuck. Like, he would be the equivalent to Richard Spencer telling me to vote for Joe Biden.
Really?
Yes, like I don't. If Richard Spencer or the KKK wants to say to vote for a Democrat, I'm not gonna.
And this is a good example too. I was going to bring this up too because I remember Ron Paul getting trashed for this when I was a big Ron Paul supporter. And sometimes Republicans get trashed for this, like, oh, the whatever from the KKK said they'd vote for you. The correct answer isn't like I disavow their vote. The correct answer is, well, listen, a lot of people vote for me for a lot of different reasons. Just because somebody's voting for me doesn't mean I endorse every single thing they believe in. Like that's it. Like that, you don't have to endorse somebody because they fucking vote for you. That's crazy.
Say, oh, then you're part of the big tent. I'm just gonna say, okay, you vote for me, good, but I don't give a.
So you would think the Democrats should not like do interviews with Hasan?
No, absolutely.
Only
For somebody who's actively supporting terrorists, he actively supports terrorists. Actively is supporting almost every terrorist organization against the United States. Like
only how do you say it in English? Debating style or
but like let's say
not oppositional necessarily.
Let's say that like AOC wanted to sell some package that she's putting through in the Congress and she wants people to know about it. Should she go on Hasan's stream and be like, hey, this is what we're doing in Congress?
No.
Okay. And the reason is because you view Hasan similarly to Richard Spencer in that how?
You legitimize the extremist and illiberal content creators that want to subvert and undermine the liberal movement. They are using the veneer of liberalism to be a pipeline to Marxist-Leninism.
So by the way, same thing, AOC should not go on Fox News as well, correct, for an interview?
No. Oh my God, please, Dirt, if you pick this out, I'll hold elections, okay, to make you a conductor again. I don't know if he's saying this to tease out a better comparison or if he really just made the comparison. AOC going on Fox News is good because she's going on Fox News to fight Fox News. AOC going on Hasan is bad because Pisco is implying that she should go on Hasan's stream to support Hasan. There's a massive difference there. These are totally disanalogous.
When she goes to Fox News, she...
sorry, so I'm going to ask you yes or no. Should AOC...
I didn't even let him finish! He's going to say, he's about to say it though.
In trying to promote her legislation, let's say hypothetical, should she go on Fox News, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I say why? What's the difference? So what I said initially was that if Democrats engage with Hasan Piker for interviews or stuff like that, it should be in the way they engage with Fox News for stuff like that. So in like a combative or setting or like an enemy behind enemy line setting.
Yes.
Cringe, I know as a term. I don't know how to say it in English otherwise.
But once you fear, you're legitimizing Fox News, you're going on Fox News.
No, because, well, I mean, like, yeah, you can talk about legitimizing Fox News potentially, but it's in the conversation of, are you legitimizing somebody in the way that you platform them when you argue against them? That's way different than, are you legitimizing somebody who you're calling your friend and openly accepting their endorsement and endorsing them back? It's a totally different claim.
You're going behind enemy lines to promote your site in a combative scenario.
Let me think about that, all right? I'll think about that. I think that there's something to be gained. So like, so for example, let's say that Hasan offered me an opportunity to come on his stream to talk to his channel about an issue, like to talk about, for example, why the Kilmar-Abrego Garcia case is like really important. Do you think I should take that opportunity?
Wait, can you repeat that as well?
If Hasan, let's say that one of Hasan's mods reaches out to me and says, hey, we really want you to explain the legal position right here about Kilmar-Abrego Garcia to our audience to suggest why it's so important. Should I take that offer?
Yes, sure.
Why?
I mean, the same reason you would go on Fox News to do it.
Okay, so then it looks like you're okay with using Hasan's platform in certain circumstances.
Yeah,
yeah, of course, but no one said otherwise. If Hasan wants to say we should vote for the left candidate, nobody would say, oh, no, we reject their vote. But there's a difference between that and like endorsing them as a platform and a friend and saying that this is a good platform that we agree with.
Yes, okay. I'm okay with engaging in confrontational discourse with our enemies.
No, it's not just like, well, come on the stream because we want to know the legal breakdown of this case. I'm like, oh yes, yeah, I'm going to go on to do it.
The same way, if you go on
Fox News
to discuss the Kilmar case,
yes,
they will ask you probably like
tougher questions, right? I think that if I went on Fox News, I think that they would ask me tougher questions. I think Hasan would probably just like accept because he's already ideologically committed against what they're doing with Kilmar, right? So I think that it would be a softball with Hasan.
Yeah, but Hasan would probably he won't maybe say, oh, Trump is right to do this, but maybe he'll say, oh, but Democrats did the same thing or similar.
Yeah, and then like that, right?
Obama.
But then I would fight that. Is the difference maybe because I'm not legit?
But you wouldn't, I don't know if Pisco would fight that. I wouldn't trust Pisco to fight it right now based on the unbelievably retarded and uninformed he said about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden. I don't think I would trust Pisco to fight back on anything on these platforms. He seems to either not understand the underlying facts or he's too ideologically bought in to actually push back against them. Which ironically enough is the whole issue with like responsible platforming is would you push back enough, you know, given the adversarial platform?
Because I'm smaller and you would view that differently than AOC? I'm just trying to find a place where we can distinguish, right? Because you wouldn't have a problem with AOC doing this, like Hasan inviting AOC to say, this is what the administration is doing, this is why it's so bad. I think you'd have a problem with that.
No, my main point is if you go on shows like that, you have to basically stand on business and know what their motivation is like.
Okay.
Because previously when politicians like AOC have gone on his stream, he's pretended or he's portrayed himself as like the lefty liberal who just wants healthcare and free college. But we all know, and he said like directly that he wants much more than that, including not liberalism. So the same way you go with a mindset of what the platform is on Fox News, you should go.
Like it's so weird to like, do we acknowledge, does anybody have the streamable?
So I'm sadly
There's a stream with like a 3-minute cutout that has of him on that the D program where he's talking about how he basically masks on as a liberal in order to get more people. I'm not gonna be able to find it. I know it's in the content nuke a little bit, but I want the whole clip. Okay.
In the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. You want America, in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, you know, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing agitated propaganda that goes beyond, you know, social democratic idea.
I just wanted to like put emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel where, for example, Hasan and JT catch them while they're young, as they say, and then they start looking into this new idea, etc., and then move forwards through the funnel, get more and more informed, get more and more radicalized. You do your part in the funnel for the cause, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. You're doing, in my modest opinion, a great thing for the cause.
But now listen to Hasan.
Like, it's just insane that you have this guy knowingly and openly talking about how he tries to, it's the, when you have power, what is it like? I exercise free speech when you're in power because those are your values, but when I'm in power, I oppress you because those are my values. Like it's like he's open about doing this. He just says it openly. And the fact that people are like, oh, you know, yeah, we should like advocate alongside him and work together with him. And it's like,
it's really hard to,
I'm sorry, we have like a full, I'm just going to listen to this full segment. I'm sorry.
To do.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a pretty run-of-the-mill radicalization process. You know, Bernie came around, and I was like, "Oh wow, he's saying stuff I haven't heard before." Yeah, why is our healthcare so expensive? Stuff like that, and you know how it goes. I heard the rhetoric like, "Oh, he's not actually a socialist; he's a social democrat." I'm like, okay, what's the difference between social democracy and socialism? And
like this is also why, and I know people get mad at me for saying it. It's not 100% fair, but I'm sorry, you got to understand. I don't even use the term sock dem. Do I? Maybe I do. I don't like the term sock dem. When somebody tells me they're a sock dem, I don't trust them. If you're a dem sock, I consider you a tanky. If you're a sock dem, I'm like 50-50. So when somebody tells me they're a sock dem, that's the equivalent to somebody when I ask like, that's the equivalent to somebody saying like, oh, what's like a mask on? Everything on the conservative side is so mask off now. It's hard to even think of an equivalent. Oh, that's when somebody says I'm a sock dem, that's the equivalent to me hearing a conservative say, I wish we just had more like, you know, immigrants from Europe, you know? I'm like, that's the equivalent there.
And then
because so many of these people like blatantly, like he's talking about it right now, they abuse they'll wear that sock dem label. They'll wear that sock dem label to try to propagandize you. That's what they try to do.
Not actually a socialist, he's a social democrat. I'm like, okay, what's the difference between social democracy and socialism? And then I'd, you know, read a little bit more about that. And then the turning point for me was when I picked up State and Revolution and read that. And then things started to click.
Great book.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. For anybody who hasn't read State and Revolution, it's short, it's easy to read, it stood the test of time really quite well. He's a funny guy, like sassy. I love it. That was an interesting process because, you know, a lot of Americans, myself included, were by default kind of apolitical in that it doesn't really affect us very much. You might dislike conservatives depending on where you live because they're, you know, loud and obnoxious and racist and all that stuff. And so you've got a gut reaction, negative reaction against that. But that doesn't mean that, you know, you consider yourself political. And I was that way. But it's really hard to find accurate information here in the US when everything from, you know, our textbooks to like children's shows to, you know, sitcoms as you grow up to the news, to movies, blockbuster movies, it's all so steeped in anti-communist propaganda, you know, even to this day. And it's so you have this ingrained cultural revulsion or fear of anything that is seen as un-American. And that term has been so heavily conflated with left-wing economics, left-wing politics. I mean, properly left-wing, socialist and beyond, not the Democrats, which are clearly a right-wing party.
What do you mean? The Democrats are, I thought they were communists.
Yeah, this morning now they've arrested their political rival, Donald Trump. We are living in communist America.
Yeah, I don't get it.
That's right. It's when the government does stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting, it's frustrating, and it's why I made my channel the way I did. When I you know, not sound conspiratorial or anything, but like when I had my eyes open to the reality of how the United States actually works, I was like, okay, how would I have wanted this explained to me when I was first learning about this stuff? And so that's why I took the 101 approach, because, you know, the average American it's not just that they're starting from square one, they're starting from like square negative 30. You have to first pick apart all of the things that have been programmed into them, and then you can start to build upon a basis of reality.
You're describing the reason why so many people simultaneously consider me to be a Democratic Party mouthpiece or a suck dem or whatever but also a threat to America as well, because I do, just like you said, I do advocate for social democratic reforms, and I do think that in order to develop any kind of mechanism of pushback, a robust labor force that has any kind of speaking power, any kind of fighting power to strike at the heart of the imperial core where value is generated.
Class consciousness.
I think that in the short term, in order to combat against that, you have to advocate for a much lighter form of propaganda. Despite, I perfectly understand that social democracies benefit tremendously from American imperialism, Western imperialism, and would not exist in the way that they do without such atrocities committed, right? But, if you want America in the way that I feel about it, and if you want America to get out of the way for places with more revolutionary potential to do what they would normally do, I think that, one thing you have to do is advocate for a lighter form while simultaneously still doing agitative.
Like this is the advocating for the abscondment, basically, of the United States as the world leader, right? To abandon their position so that other more revolutionary places can pick up. And to do that, you're undermining the United States while advocating for social democracy, knowing that social democracy, hopefully, when you talk about empowering workers to be able to strike out, right? This is, from what I understand, this is like one of the core tenets of Marxist-Leninism. ML tankies need the vanguard party. They need that revolutionary, violent force to come out and to kill the landlords and to eat the capitalists and to rob from the rich and to kill everybody and to get rid of all, because you need that singular, powerful, authoritarian, like the authoritarianism is not like an unfortunate byproduct of ML. It's like, it's like this first step, right? Is you have that vanguard party, you have that authoritarian regime that eventually will give way to someday, I guess, like the socialist communist utopia afterwards. But he openly advocates for it. He's talking about weaponizing that Stockdem label. He's talking about, like earlier when they told that joke about like, oh, I guess the Democrats are communists now because they arrested their political opponents. They're laughing because it's obviously not true, but they would arrest their political opponents. And Hasan said as much when he was on the show with Ethan. He's like, yeah, capitalists go to re-education camps.
Your propaganda that goes beyond,
right,
those democratic ideas.
I just wanted to put emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel, where, for example, Hasan and JT catch them while they're young.
And it's so funny too because these guys will blatantly talk about he's just this is not like a radicalization funnel in a bad term. He's just explaining how the propaganda model works.
Put emphasis on the exact point of the so-called radicalization funnel, where, for example, Hasan and JT catch them while they're young, as they say, and then they start looking into this new idea, etc., and then move forwards through the funnel, get more and more informed, get more and more radicalized, and so on. Can only work and can absolutely utilize, for example, the stuff that Hasan does, because Hasan does one very particular thing that social democrats that, for example, we would never call to this podcast or we would give a little to, because they cut the funnel from both sides. What do I mean by this? They introduce people to lukewarm socialist ideas, etc., and then they want to keep them there, right? Well, whenever Hasan introduces people to socialist ideas, yes, the lukewarm, not so scary sounding ones, keeping your power levels low, hidden, and so on, he does not stop them from progressing through the funnel and getting additional information and so on. He doesn't agitate against, for example, the revolutionary perspective and so on and so on. That is the main difference. You do your part in the funnel for the cause or whatever you want to call it. We'll talk later about if what we're doing actually does anything, etc. But as long as you do not try to keep people exactly there where you want them and don't want them to evolve, etc., then you're doing, in my modest opinion, a great thing for the cause. But unfortunately, there's a lot, especially for example on Twitch, motherfuckers that do the opposite, and they just because they want to farm their audience as much as they can, and then they generate drama, which is
like, it's just like they describe themselves as a virus, right? Like, and then people are like, oh, well, we should produce as much stuff inside the cell as possible. Let's bring in this foreign RNA. It wants to come in and print off so many proteins for us. Like, this will be so great and amazing. And it's like, they're literally telling you our goal is to come in and we pretend to be a friend initially, and then we will continue to radicalize them and infect them and grow as a cancer until we've taken over the entire thing. Which
is almost 99%.
It's just surprising. It's amazing to me that people would look at that and be like, okay, yeah, well, let's work with them up to a point. Hello? What? Why?
Other socialists, etc., and that is,
stay away from all that noise.
Exactly, and that is reactionary. That is quite literally anti-progressive and hurts the movement much more than it helps. So yeah, those are
I hate Wreckers, right? I mean, they've always been around, and I think originally Wreckers would operate almost in a way that you salt a workplace, right? They would come in, they'd have a different ideological perspective, and they would do these things. Nowadays, I think in America, especially, American exceptionalism, American individualism, American capitalism is so ingrained in the minds of people that they do it without realizing. There are plenty of forms of what people would consider radical politics in leftist spaces that people engage in, where they are unintentionally doing record without recognizing that they're doing that. You have anarchists, rad libs. I mean, I guess there's more historical precedent to that. But you have so many different flavorings of the Nat socks or whatever, which is hilarious because that's just the most anti-materialist perspective. You can have nationalism in that regard, and all this other stuff, that people people engage with, and it just purely is that fight is purely fought on aesthetic grounds, which is inherently one, a mystification of class politics, and two, very liberal. It's the most liberal thing you can do to be like, oh my god, like you wear expensive clothes, like you're not a real leftist. Like you need to, as a leftist, you need to, or as an anti-capitalist or socialist, like you can't have a house, you can't make money.
You have to live like an aesthetic.
Yeah, which is inherently like it's inherently anti-socialist. Like I'm no dengist, but you know. It's you know the quote that I'm obviously referencing, but like socialism is not a poverty.
Absolutely.
Okay?
Exactly right.
Prosperity is glorious for
is.
all.
It is.
There's a very good article by Jonas.
I don't know. That's just like, okay, let's work with these people. Like
directly that he wants much more than that, including not liberalism. So the same way you go with a mindset of what the platform is on Fox News, you should go on Hasan.
Got it. Okay, so it's not a categorical. Democrats don't work with Hasan. It's use Hasan for your own ends.
Yes,
okay.
You don't work with Fox News. You go on Fox News.
Okay, and so you would be against, for example, like them announcing Hasan endorsing a candidate. You'd be like, Hasan, you shouldn't go to Hasan's stream to accept an endorsement from Hasan.
Absolutely not.
No, you wouldn't go on Richard Spencer's stream to accept his endorsement.
Correct.
Okay. Let me think about a little bit of that and how I feel about it. In general, I have no plans whatsoever to I want there to be clarity. I despise it when lefties are anti-electoral or make a false equivalence between Trump or Republicans and Democrats. It pisses me off, and I think it's incompatible. But if there are people who acknowledge over and over,
that's what every political commentator does to a certain extent. What is the point of having a platform if you don't use it to further your political point, given that's what your content is about? But there's a difference. I'm open about the political point that I'm pushing. And if I am like a little bit more radical in some direction in a way that I'm not saying, like it's generally still like directionally the same thing. Like, let's say that like my public position is, I think we should have a 15-hour minimum wage. And privately I'm like, but if we get like a 17-hour minimum wage, like, oh, that'd be pretty great. But when you are pushing one ideology and you actually like have subsumed or not subsumed, you actually have a totally different ideology that you're trying to radicalize people towards, but you're wearing the mask of another ideology, like they just talked about. Fundamentally, it's a different type of thing. I mean, like, it also depends on, I don't know which direction you're criticizing from. I don't think Hasan is using a bad strategy insofar as he's concerned. Like, I think he's probably doing the right thing. It's more effective than like what they call them wreckers. I've never heard the term before, but it sounds like they're people that come in with extremist ideologies. The same things that Nazis identified, where it's like, you can't come in with tiki torches. You're going to look like a fucking loser. You have to be more subtle than that. And that's essentially they were talking about with all the crazy, the rad libs and the anarchists or whatever. It's like, you can't come in like an unhinged loser like that. You got to be like more chill, like be a suck dem, but don't ever fight against the rad libs, but be a suck dem, and like funnel people that way is what they were talking about.
The benefit of voting for Democrats over Republicans, it's someone I'm going to consider making an ally. Now, Hasan doesn't do that, and Hasan additionally, like you said, has the baggage of anti-liberal positions. But I'm just going to be honest with you, like
anti-liberal, he has an anti-liberal ideology.
And additionally, like you said, has the baggage of anti-liberal positions. But I'm just going to be honest with you, like if there are people who are willing to support Democrats consistently, I think the Democrats should consider, especially the big platform.
If our minds are one. If we're connected right now, then the next thing you should say is, okay, so if the KKK were to come out and endorse the Democratic Party should start platforming the KKK.
Not willing to work with them, Like Vosh, for example, is another example. Like Vosh, he obviously disagrees a lot with Democrats, but he will always say that he's going to support voting for Democrats. Would you say something about Vosh? Like Vosh is a better example, right?
Problem with Vosh. I don't think Vosh is. I mean, Vosh is also not for liberalism necessarily, but I don't think he's for revolutionary communism. That's one thing that's saves him a bit more than Hasan. But
the thing is, I'm not really fearful of their kind of LARPing communism, right? I almost feel like it's at current state in politics. I don't think there's much danger of this Marxist takeover, and so maybe it's because I'm not taking that threat seriously in terms of what our country will turn into, and so maybe I'm not seeing the downside in just using their platforms to convert people to Democratic voters.
Like, just as a reminder, Donald Trump was the laughing stock. Just as a reminder, you want to talk about what summarizes this whole thing? It's this. Does anybody have, it was a guy standing with, Obama is making the joke about Donald Trump, and Obama is joking about Trump never being president. Oh, you got half of it. Does anybody know what I'm thinking about?
Right? I almost feel like it's, at current state in politics, I don't think there's much danger of this Marxist takeover. And so maybe it's because I'm not taking that threat seriously in terms of what our country will turn into. And so maybe I'm not seeing the downside in just using their platforms to convert people to Democratic voters.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! ! At real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
Donald Trump was a joke when he started running. Like, you have to be careful about the environment that you are preparing, and to prepare an environment for actual tankies to take over. But to think that you can constantly hold them at bay is such an unbelievably risky political calculation. But the thing is, they don't even think that's what they're doing. They just don't think they're that bad.
There was one thing. You said,
didn't Hasan have Mamdani on his stream and endorse him? Didn't Hasan skip a flight to go hang out with Mamdani and promote him? And only after Mamdani won the primary, Hasan was like, "Oh, I'll do anything to help this guy." Only after he saw that the guy was going to win, or after the guy won his primary, not was going to win, but after he won his primary.
Consistent support, right? That was your measure.
Yeah, like I wouldn't just want Hasan support Mamdani. So, for example, he supports Mamdani. I support Mamdani, right? So I support voting for Mamdani. I support him in the primary, and definitely support voting for him in the general. And in that respect, like, I think Hasan, with respect to Mamdani, he's doing more things than some of the mainstream Democrats are doing, right? Some of the mainstream Democrats aren't even supporting Mamdani. So in that respect, specifically on Mamdani, I'm happier with Hasan than I am with a lot of mainstream Democrats, including.
It's just nobody thinks Hasan is that bad.
Including like Kirsten Gillibrand. So I'm supporting a primarying Kirsten Gillibrand because of how outraged that makes me. And so, for example, I think that Hasan is better on Mamdani than Kirsten Gillibrand.
But why do you think Hasan and Vosh support?
Yes, Third is just he's just asking good questions. I think that the Democrats should endorse Mamdani in the general election. You should. However, if somebody comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, well, look at Anderson Cooper. He's not endorsing Mamdani," I'd say, "Oh, I'm disappointed." And then somebody says, "Well, look at this guy over here, Mohammed Abdul. He supports Mamdani because he wants him to genocide all of the apostates in New York City. Aren't you happy that he's supporting Mamdani? Aren't you happier with him than you are with Anderson Cooper?" No, not really. No. I don't think I would say yes to that. No, sorry.
Yeah, I think it's more ideological, and I think it's out of convenience, for sure.
Oh, but Pisco even admits it. It's more ideological and out of convenience. But Pisco doesn't think the ideology is that bad because he either hasn't dug into it or doesn't care or agrees with it more. Or
but that's just what I mean. I think it needs to go both ways. And I wouldn't want Hasan. I know. I wouldn't want Hasan just to support the candidates that are the most ideologically aligned with him. I would want him to acknowledge the benefits of voting for Democrats overall, which he doesn't do. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, so I want to repeat.
Yeah, like Sneeko endorsed Mamdani. True.
Hasan isn't consistent in his support.
I agree.
Only, just to reiterate why it doesn't fit your criteria, at least for the moment.
Yeah.
And also, since he's admitted that he is a subversive, specifically trying to subvert like the Democrat Party to usurp the power structure to his illiberal ideology, then you have to be extra careful about his statements of support and his appearances on liberal media.
I'll be careful about that. Hey, thank you so much for your input here. I think you would agree though that you would vote for Hasan over Trump, or no?
In the current everything as is right now, yes.
Nice.
But for Hasan to be a candidate, it wouldn't be like it is today.
I like that comparison. Would you go for Hasan over Trump?
Trump has a coat.
Yeah, it's just a hypothetical. No, but like under current circumstances, you would substitute, if you could, Hasan for Trump. You wouldn't prefer Trump to stay in office.
But I think there was a disconnect with the previous chatter who you asked this.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a very not good hypothetical because you're comparing like the hypothetical mask on Hasan with the mask of.
So ideologically, do you find yourself ideologically more compatible with Hasan Piker or with Charlie Kirk?
With mask on Hasan, yes. With mask off Hasan, probably with Kirk.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Because mask off Hasan is basically
authoritarian tanky coming.
Some Bernie and
Bernie. I can't even believe he said Bernie. Oh, why did he even say
second
that?
to last caller.
Oh, why did he say? Oh no. Sorry.
Criteria, at least for the moment.
Yeah.
And also, since he's admitted that
he's misheard. Wait, hold
on. Specifically.
Sorry, maybe I misheard.
Liberal media.
I'll be careful about that. Hey, thank you so much for your input here.
It is today. Like Trump has a code.
Yeah, it's just a hypothetical. No, but like under current circumstances, you would substitute, if you could, Hasan for Trump. You wouldn't prefer Trump to stay in office. Yeah. Do you find yourself ideologically more compatible with Hasan Piker or with Charlie Kirk?
With mask on Hasan, yes. With mask off Hasan, probably with Kirk.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Because mask off Hasan is basically some mix between
some Bernie and mask off Hasan.
Oh, he said mask off.
Okay, got it. Hey,
and yeah,
thank you so much. I gotta get the last caller, but I really appreciate it.
I can't even believe this. What is this? Fucking AOC is fucking disgusting. We're gonna talk about this tomorrow. I can't believe she fucking did this. AOC accepted free admission to the 2021 Met Gala. This is actually fucking unbelievable. Like, I understand like the whole $400 million Qatari jet and the world liberal scams, where Trump is running the largest crypto scam of all time, where Trump is selling literally pieces of his suit from his ex-assassination attempts in order to raise money from his family, or the fact that Steve Witkoff is traveling around the world with his family members in order to improperly foster deals between a company that's owned 60% by the Trump family, or the fact that Donald Trump is trading on the name and reputation of the United States, both to its own citizens and to people in other countries abroad, not to mention the 450 other horrible, corrupt things that this, administration is doing. But like, how are we ever going to call that out when shit like this is going on? Like, this just destroys. I don't even know if I can criticize Trump anymore after this type of shit. It's unbelievable. I don't know. Yeah, I guess we're fucked now. It's over. It's fucking over. Like this. Like, where's your moral high ground if you have unprincipled members like this? Free tickets? What Met Gala tickets? Probably what, $1,000? I can't believe it. And 4 years ago, so with interest, how much of our national debt? It's unbelievable.
Tickets are now on sale for the Houston leg of my anti-Trump Pangburn debate mayhem annihilation tour. If you've been at some of these events, get some airplane tickets, fly to Houston and come join me there. Or if you are on the West Coast or want to fly to the West Coast to hang out, I'll be touring there as well. Check out below. There is a link to buy tickets. The next tour date is August 2nd in Houston. And then there's a whole bunch afterwards all along the West Coast. Make sure you check out the link below. Don't miss it. Be there, buy merch. Maybe I'll even have some extra knives for you to buy. I misspoke at that.